Zombie, Darkest Night, the newest mode in the zombie universe, is here. This time, the rules are different. No more parachuting, as players will be placed at random locations on the map when the match begins, and there is no single winner. Players must work with their teammates to spend one long night in the match and stay alive until the sun comes up. Waves and waves of zombies will spawn during each of the 3 foggy periods at night, and supplies should only be scavenged when the fog fades. The main objective is not to defeat other players, though this doesn't mean they are harmless. Players may need to work with other teams when necessary, but should also watch their backs in case the Fragile Alliance goes south. This will be a unique experience for every player involved. This new mode also comes with a passive skill for every player. Understanding these skills will be the key to staying alive in this long night. Can you ride out the night?
Play PUBG Mobile for free.
like we're in for repeat performance.
17 aren't going to come, but they are going to go engage. And MBZ.
Oh, MBZ just getting absolutely lit up right there.
Really good distance.
Big cover fire there, laid down by Fazza, trying to find as much as he possibly can. He does get a knockdown this one, and that's going to be a 3-on-3 between these two teams, but they got to keep moving right now. The blue's coming. Rosa.
Deep hit.
Moha just trying to make the plays, and Mustafa's unloading onto him right now. That's going to be the elimination.
Versus 4 situation. One member is down on Evil.
Oh! So many chances. It was looking like he might have been able to take number 2. We'll see. Rodel trying to light him up. 6-9, find him. And they're going to be taking some... Fire being opened up, though.
Slightly different group, so it's different styles of play coming in, and now we're rushing to Crush.
Yeah, well, they really are rushing in right now. That really is after that last one for sure. Now we're going to see Rush to Crush engaging across the way with the IK side. To Crush come up behind MBZ and start firing him down. They did not see that one coming. And Rush to Crush.
There's no way that they don't win this in the end. What fantastic play so far from LDK, knocking out Nargos.
Yeah, Narcos dropped down right now, and this just seems like it would have to be a minute.
Now the rotation coming in.
He's letting the cover fire right now. Red Bull's actually going to get dropped here by Mustafa. However, last shit, he can't make it out of the hail of bullet to see if he can 1v4, and he cannot. LTK with a second chicken dinner.
That is insane. I want to see how many kills they...
Have to start moving, but here comes SNT moving around the side. There is the knockdown onto Mustafa. Breach 17 looking for Captain, and it should just be a matter of time. Managing to find them. Moraluz opens up on the sights, trying to get the knockdown. Morzes.
Second position may well be coming out!
Oh! Oh my goodness! And that is going to guarantee at least second place for 7 Reef team, courtesy of AXT.
Minimum of 27 points from this game, but he might be able to go in for more. He knocks one.
Mr. 404i, can he do it? Can he pull the clutch off? I don't think so. Those numbers were just too much to overcome. Sides, Fazza looking to breach into the house, and he finds Zeus before he can turn his attention. No. However, there was still Boonamer up there, and now the rest of them come through. This is good for Nox's last remaining member, but we got to check back in with this fight.
Back up to 7 Reef though.
Wait, that's Fazza. He just got dropped down, blown.
Doing better than 7 Reef, and the shot's coming out.
Almost. He's gonna go right now, and that's gonna be Red Bull taken down. Mission there, that's Captain in the 4th position. A very good split here for SNT. Rodel getting dropped. All of a sudden, they're not too healthy here as L&D are still in the picture, mixing it up. Yeah, well, L&D still have all 4 up. I might have spoken a little too soon. Needle getting dropped down. Tawan just can't thread it. Looking for it. He's the last man standing for. I can't finish the job. He's dropped so low, and the back's against the blue for ZBRT. He's fighting inside of it as he has to make moves. The cover fire, not going to be enough. He opens up, looking for it, looking for the shots, but Faker, will he be able to do it? He does! Welcome back once again, everybody, to the PUBG Mobile Club Open. It is day 2 of the semifinals here for the MEA region. I am Devin Pyrotechnics Young, and joining me on my right is the ever-wonderful Tom Wee Freeman Pickering. How you doing today?
I am doing fantastic. I'm so excited today. We've got a bunch of games that are going to be interesting, and we finally see Miramar once again.
It's back. It was a long time coming, to be honest, because we've only seen Miramar on a handful of occasions. These teams have only played it once in the group stages, and I really missed it. It's a big, dusty area, but it's our big, dusty area.
Exactly. Big dusty bowl, and I mean, for the longest time I hated it with a passion.
Oh, yeah?
It was not the map that I wanted to play. It was all over the place, but nonetheless though, let's have a look at the placement points here. So tournament rules, as you can see, they haven't changed since day 1. 1 point per kill, and then at first place you get 30 points, and so on and so forth further down there. And there's also a really good place to be able to find them, but we'll get back to you on where you can find them momentarily. But first place is the most important place.
100%.
You don't have to have 20 kills or 19 kills like SWAT69 did yesterday. You can get 5 kills and it's still really good.
Yeah, you could. This is the thing. It's so different than desktop PUBG in the sense that it is more geared towards the placement. So you see sometimes passive teams, but you still see teams coming in guns a-blazing, and a lot of different strategies. Now, this is how the groups were before the semifinals began. A lot of these teams have actually been eliminated out. We started with 32. We move our way down into 24 teams. So some of the squads on the screen, the likes of VK Gamers, BioWare, over in Group A, Rich Gang and MZ from Group B. Those teams are out of the competition, so we will see the next teams that are going to be facing off. But we've had 1 day of semifinals performance so far, and honestly, expectations feel like they've been upended a little bit. But before we get into that, Here is the breakdown. We started day 1. Groups A and B, Live to Kill, who had middling performances, came up with a double chicken dinner, and then Executor and L&D ruled the roost for the last 2 maps. But today, as you mentioned, Tom, we're back on Miramar. We've got Vikendi and then a double Erangel.
It's going to be an interesting day, A versus C on the groups. If you want to see those groups, you can find them in the standings, which we'll have a link on the screen very soon. But it's going to be an interesting one. We do have TRD, who were our caster favorites, to be honest, as to being the highest
Performance-wise, they kind of had earned it.
Yeah, they really did fall down there. So let's see how they do against the Dancing Pirates, Light Pirates, who are playing today. But this is the timing, so first game is going to be very soon at 21 CET or FET for whatever reason it says on there. And then we're going to be moving on and downwards through there. But I'm really excited to see what Light Pirates can do. They performed fantastically on the last day of the group stage. Got 2 chicken dinners, a second place, and...
and then they kind of trolled a little bit at the end. They went back to the dancing
Yeah.
roots. But, dude, that was the craziest thing. Light Pirates were absolutely insane on the final day of play. They were honestly considered a joke up until that point because they hadn't gotten a lot done. But still fun, good-natured team. They were always dancing about. That's why we gave them the moniker. But let's talk about the standings. After day 1 of the semifinals, SWAT 69 on top with 103 total points. Live to Kill just behind them at 85. S&T, the formerly known 69. SWAT down at 77. And so on and so forth. You see it gets very close between 4 through 8.
Yeah, I mean, one thing we don't see in the top 8 here is TRD, which is going to be a surprise to everyone else. But we do see Seven Wreath down in 6th place, so it's not too bad. But
they're tied with L&D.
Yeah, they're tied, so they're kind of 5th. So it's sort of like 5th, 6th place, and then they're only 1 point away from Executor, who also had a really good game yesterday. They did get 1 chicken dinner. And Nox as well in 8th place, who had a fantastic performance. We're moving into the next 8. The last guys who actually have a performance in HeadHunterrs all the way down on 7 points, kind of to be expected. I'd think potentially out of these guys, HeadHunterrs and IK may well be the lowest performance from us that we expect, and then maybe followed up by Rush to Crash. So a bit of a surprising result from Rush to Crash actually coming in 11th place. They performed a little bit better than I expected yesterday.
I think better than most teams expected.
Indeed,
because Rush to Crush had 1 great start to the tournament on Vikendi. It was their first map. I believe they didn't actually load in on a Sandhawk game, so it was a little bit crazy. Then it was kind of all bad news for Rush to Crush. They kept getting wiped. This time around, they returned a bit to those roots, came back in. But here's where it gets interesting. These are the teams that haven't played yet. We see the likes of 46 Loot, who had a standout final day. We see the Light Pirates down there at the bottom. We see even 963, who eked into the top 24. Looking forward to see what they can deliver today. But also, we'll get to see Kurd Squad, the fan favorites. We see you guys always giving them cheers. This is the most popular team coming out of a very honestly stacked with talent country. We look at Iraq, and there's 36 players remaining in the top 24 teams representing that country, and they are very much the most popular. They might have to compete with Light Pirates, though, a little bit. We've seen a couple of LPI hearts in the chat every now and again.
I think there's going to be more by the end of the semi-finals, especially for the way Light Pirates managed to perform on the 6th day of Group. No, actually, it was the 5th day.
It was their final performance, either way.
Yeah, but either way, their final performance was immense, and a lot of kills coming out from them, as well as just a fantastic performance. The rotations were on point, and they showed us we're not just dancing pirates, we can actually get frags.
Dance on people's graves.
Yeah, exactly. They may not be the most popular one, but I think they may well be able to sneak up on Kurd Squad. So any of you fans out there of Kurd Squad, you need to be in chat screaming at your team's name. And also,
take the energy, man. They absorb it.
Yeah, exactly. And they're going to be fighting off today as well because they're in the same group of Group C. So Group C are going to be joining the fray, and let's see how they actually do on the scoreboard because we actually have Group A who have an advantage. They already have 4 games under the belt. So now we're going to be seeing Group C come in. If any of them manage to go ahead of like TRD, that's going to be really bad for TRD. But they can, because TRD have been doing terribly.
That's what I wanted to ask you about. Like, how surprising was it to see TRD honestly fall face flat? And after having such a dominating couple of days, they only had 3 days over the course of the group stages, but they managed to rack up a whopping 300 and something odd points. And if you missed any of that information, by the way, fear not. You, of course, can go to our website to find all of that stuff, including the up-to-date stats as of right now. The website, as you see on the screen below, is clubopen.pubgmobile.com. For all your needs, all you got to do is tick the tab to check the MEA region. Of course, you can also check out everything all across the world in the PUBG Mobile Club.
It's really worth it. There's a lot of interesting games. We had a big chat earlier with a lot of the other casters, and the Indian region is really interesting. There's a lot of different metas. There's a lot more players tend to be alive towards the end of the games.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting to see how the ME region sort of compared to that as we go through. But if you haven't already, make sure to hop on over towards our YouTube account, which is actually www.youtube.com/PUBG Esports.
PUBG Mobile Esports.
Mobile
but don't worry, it's right on the bottom, so you can't miss it for sure. And you always want to smash the subscription button so you make sure that you catch all the action. And as Tom likes to say,
Ding dong, that notification bell.
Music to my ears every time. So you don't miss a single minute of the PUBG Mobile action. Of course, you can catch all of the broadcasts, not just ours right here covering the ME region, but all the broadcasts around the world through that channel. And, we're on a couple different channels. Obviously, we talked about how it's on Facebook.
Yep.
It's also on Twitch for a number of them, but not, obviously, every single broadcast, including ours. We are on YouTube. But many different ways to catch it, many different angles, and, man, some of these teams have certainly been catching it right now. There's been some interesting performances across the board. TRD does seem to be in hot water, but as you mentioned, they do have a chance to redeem themselves today.
Yeah, and I'd be very surprised if they don't come in with their arms swinging today, and the fact that they're like, right, we really dropped a pool, and that Hicks you actually reached out to me on Twitter and mentioned that they didn't actually practice during the whole of last week. And I was like, well, it's a little bit overconfident, and that's what I called out, is that they probably went into this like, we smashed this. We don't have to worry about anyone. Unfortunately, what they didn't recognize is that these teams are hungry. They want that. They want a part of that 2.5 million. They want to have a chance of getting to that point. So they did their research. And now TRD are facing the consequences.
Yeah, and they've got a lot more chances to play it out, so we'll see what happens on it today. But as you mentioned, the teams are very hungry. We have seen so many different performances, not just at the end of group stages, but the teams yesterday really coming up. The Group B teams, they can rest, they can take it easy, go back, watch what's going on today, and scout out the competition a little bit. But for Group C, they've been waiting, they have been watching. They are ready for the Group A teams. It's not just TRD they'll have to face off against. There are a lot of tougher squads at the moment, and TRD are kind of back to square one, having to prove that they are that solid team that we saw in the groups.
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be a bunch of things that they need to improve on, but there's definitely room for them to improve on. But I think they can actually make up that gap in these games. If they perform like we saw them do before and play consistently, that'd be brilliant. But last time, yesterday, they didn't play consistent at all. They had consistent dropouts in the above the top 10. So that's really bad. I think we saw even was it 15th finish for them at one point?
Yeah, it was really, really surprising. But let's move it from the negative surprises. Talk about some of the more positive ones. Like, what was the biggest standout performer to you Group A yesterday's games?
I think it's SWAT 69. I mean, although we kind of expected them to do well, we haven't really seen much of them in the past sort of couple of weeks. When they came in the first week, that was brilliant. They had a standout performance. They got the chicken dinner on their first game on Miramar, collected a total of 50 points, which is insane. 20 kill points and 30 placement points. But then they kind of fell off the radar. We didn't see much of them. But they came in arms swinging yesterday, and they're at the top of the leaderboard.
Yeah, I think that's total fair. They made it all the way up to the top, as you mentioned. They didn't get all the chicken dinners 100% of the time, but they were consistently finishing towards the top. And that is an impressive performance from SWAT 69, including their frontman, Ray, who's had all his clutch performances. I think for my part, though, I'm also looking at Group C, looking at the Light Pirates, because it's hard to tell where these guys' level is. They had one major stand-up performance, and we'll find out as we get onto Vikendi, and that plane is just clipping the northwest corner.
Yeah, it's going to be quite an interesting plane for this one because it's going to be cutting out most of the bottom half of the plane path is going to be cutting out most of the bottom part of the map, which is fine. I don't think we'll be seeing too many teams drop over towards Kantra because it's quite far away. But you know what, we do have Villa, where I'm sure we'll see a lot of people. Garaka is a place where we see TRD tend to drop. They may well get challenged this time round, and a lot of teams do drop out at the start of the plane. Where are they going to head, though? I
got 2 words for you, Tom. Dino Park. I want to see the circle. I've been waiting the entire tournament to see us go to the Southwest. Please, 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 gods of RNG, bless us with the Dino Park circle. I would love to see the finish.
Same. I was actually watching the latest Jurassic Park film on the way here.
Oh, so you were prepared for this?
Yeah, I was like, we're going to get a Dino Park finish.
It's the one with Chris Pratt, right?
Exactly, yeah. And you know what? It's a possibility.
Oh, they have heard. They're answering my prayers, I hope. But we will see half the teams outside the circle right now. A lot of them, as you mentioned, up by Cosmodrome, going over to the northeast. And, Rush to Crush, they're up towards the north. So a lot of teams are going to have to make tracks.
Yeah, I mean, the TRD are actually quite fortunate on this part. They're on the edge, but they are in a Garaka where their usual spawn is. So they don't actually have to travel too far. And they might be able to intercept a couple of these teams who are trying to rotate in. We have, obviously, like IQM playing together. What's going on there? Why are they actually next to each other when they tend to drop all across the map?
That's an interesting thing you point out. Yeah, we almost never see this team actually playing together, but they've all dropped Trevno. They might split off. There's still plenty of time. But it is weird. They're one of the only teams we've seen do this in the ME region, that they actually like to go very separate ways. They last, at least one of them, usually makes it into the top 5. But that is a very surprising thing. Now, we will want to follow TRD, though, because we want to see if these guys can step it back up from their yesterday's performance, get themselves a chicken dinner, show us the dominant real deal that we come to expect.
Yeah, no, I mean, another team that I want to have a look on is Rush to Crush as well. Oh, there you go. There's the Dancing Pirates. But I want to jump back to Rush to Crush. So we actually saw some good performances from them yesterday, but we also saw a lot of the same sort of tunnel vision, the fact that when they see people, they'll just charge in blindsided and they don't care. When that works out to them, it's a 50-50 coin toss like you discussed yesterday. If they'll win or not, it depends if that team is weakened down or if it's a weaker team like IK or a couple of the other ones as well. But look, HeadHunterrs, for example, they did actually smash them yesterday. But we'll see how HeadHunterrs do today. They're at the very bottom of the current scored teams. They have a chance of being able to sort of stay or go up.
Yeah, HeadHunterrs really can only go up for them. They had a very rough day. We're always kind of a bit of a middling team, but seem to do well if they manage to avoid opposition early on. We'll see if that changes for them. And as you mentioned, Light Pirates might find Muhammad from KA there.
I don't know if he's got a gun. I don't think Aras actually has a gun, so he's going to have to run for the hills or, well, I guess actually the rock here as his teammate is trying to back him up here. But they should really run away from this situation. They're not in the most favorable situation against Muhammad here. He has got the opposite, sort of the actual position against him. He's got the hard cover. Potentially has the guns.
Yeah, you don't really want to run afoul of someone who has a much more superior looting phase than you, and that's always the trouble. Now, we are checking in with the crowd favorites here. It is Kurd Squad. Early on, they found a nice little loot compound. This is a much quieter start than yesterday. As I say it, Lost gets immediately dropped and killed by Just Survive.
Wow. Okay. Just, you know, cast a curse there. Ooh, RBK. H-Mode, the Pride Rock lad.
Ooh, yeah, they only loaded him with 3 players. Interesting. So I was wondering why there was only 63 alive at the start of the game. So a little unfortunate for RBK. But as we've mentioned, yeah, H-Mode, he went Beast Mode on Erangel a couple of days ago. That was one of the sickest Pride Rock plays I've ever seen.
I think he's also got a few other moments where he has actually played fairly well. So I'd be interested to see how he performs outside of that unique situation up on Pride Rock where he had every advantage, where we actually saw, like, Pirates. I think it was Koro actually returned the fire with a headshot from the sniper, which was really impressive in itself. But let's move on. 963, the underdogs that we tend to cheer on because we really want them to be able to get somewhere in this. And
they just do crazy stuff, man.
I mean,
that's what we like about them. They just decide to drive off cliff sides and jump onto the top of buildings, and they'll always take a fight. Kind of like Rush to Crush, except they can't really aim that well.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bit more of like a cute underdog story for them. And they were actually next to Cherry Blossom Tree, but we'll see. So RBK, they do actually have to rotate a little bit here.
It's Kurd Squad. They found him again. It's going to be Ari getting the knockdown onto Haji. And unfortunately, KA is kind of running afoul of some superior teams early on in these fights. It seems like we will be in for one of those quieter, slower setups. A couple teams might get whittled down early on in the game, but then we kind of come down to it. This is Circle Shrinks on Vikendi. This one's very land-based as opposed to ones we've had in the past where we actually get a little bit out to sea, which means we could be in for a longer Vikendi.
Yeah, I mean, like I did mention it yesterday that there's been a lot of sort of talk around this map, the fact that it's got very slow circle settings on it compared to that of like Erangel and a couple of others. It's not a massive difference in how the circle settings are, but there's just subtle differences which do change how it's played. If you want to see all the settings on there, you can actually find them on the website as well if you look at the rule set. Nonetheless, though, KS.
Looks like we started a fight, and it's AXT's Demon that actually gets knocked down early, but KS still looking to go through this house to get their breach on, and Samurai trying to light him up. Unfortunately, the pre-fire comes in both sides, and he is out of teammates. KA down to a single member. It's Muhammad.
Yeah, he didn't even have any bullets in his gun, so he was shot down and out.
That feels bad, man.
Feels bad, man, indeed, especially for the AXT member, Executor member, Demon, who is out for the count right now. He's bleeding away out on the road, which is a bit unfortunate considering they're definitely one of our top performers of yesterday.
A bit of a weird start with just a couple of these wonky engages as Demon gets eliminated. We're down to 58 players, but we've been talking about the action. Let's try to set the stage here a little bit. One team we haven't seen since the drop has been SWAT 69, and there's a reason they're in the lead. They've been an incredibly consistent team, which is more than we can say for most of this region entirely, where teams have kind of risen and fallen, like empires of old.
Yeah, and I mean, they do have a chance of showing that consistency throughout today, and I think that's really where they have to set the precedent. Yesterday was good. They were quite consistent. They obviously landed at the top. But if they don't show consistency today against new opponents, I don't know where we'll see them in the end, because they could drop off the face of the earth if they don't perform at all. So let's see what they can bring into the fight today. And you know what, Executor, another team that have performed quite well and consistent alongside that of SWAT 69. I'm interested to see how they do compared to each other, especially with the fact that now Executor down one man. I think those are the two teams that I want to watch in this. TRD, obviously, the kind of narrative is on them that we want to see them actually pick up their slack from
yesterday a blip on the radar. Have they managed to get in those weeks' worth of practice reps since last night? Maybe.
Maybe, you never know. But, I mean...
This is a weird sight.
Yeah, I mean, one team that we never expected to see together are actually within like 100 meters of each other. So that's really surprising for them. I mean, the thing is, it works for them. They actually managed to place a lot higher in a couple of games they shouldn't have, thanks to this exact method. But yeah, we'll see. LP.
Yeah, you know, I wonder about IQM because I know the first couple games we saw them when they really started popping up on our radar, it was because they got mostly wiped early, and we didn't really see if they were together or not, and then they started splitting off after the fact, and that really suited them for a while, but maybe they've decided, all right, maybe things have cooled down a little bit, we can stick back together and make that work. We'll check in back with them in a little bit. I just saw that flash at Dino Park. Please let us narrow down on that. I want to see some Raptor fences.
That was the T-Rex there. I thought about roaring in your ear, but I
if you
decided,
don't, you know, he can't see you
roar.
if you don't move.
Exactly. So I'm pretty screwed.
You're moving, Tom.
I'm moving on my
What are
feet.
you doing?
New
Teams
meta.
are moving as well. Yeah. We'll see when the circle shrinks down early on. Now, Rush to Crush's Tupac is actually kind of moving out on foot. This is a bit dangerous.
What a name.
I do love it, man.
Rap God, Rap God. But
There's no Biggie in this game, though.
Yeah, well, there's that T-Rex, you know what?
Yeah, we call him the T-Rex Biggie.
Why not? Why not?
All right, well, you know, forget it. That is officially the nickname of the T-Rex in Dino Park. We're calling him Biggie, guys. And if there's a Raptor, it'll be Smalls.
That there is a raptor. There's actually
Yes!
around the volcano. There's actually a bunch of dinosaurs. So
Only one of them can be Smalls.
we'll have to have a look at. Well, if it's smalls, that kind of indicates plural. So
Well, I
you
mean,
can just
if
call
it's a
them
name, you know, I don't know. Okay, you're getting into semantics here, man. That's not my strong suit for sure. TRD, they're finding their strong suit, though, as Zero is lighting up Rip here from the JS side, and this is a little bit more like the TRD that we expect. They find 4v4s. It's third parties that have been getting them in trouble. A test getting dropped down by Hackshot. Mehmet does get Hackshot in return, though, and Kevin trying to clutch this one out as he keeps himself crouched to the ground with a finishing blow, and that should be the finisher onto JS. And
there's one more, and he's down.
they're called Just Survive, but unfortunately this time they didn't. Out in 16th place.
And there's actually a crate right next to them, which I think is what they were fighting over. I'm not quite sure what is in it, but the fact that TRD managed to actually win that fight is a surprise. And the fact that that's a surprise is a little bit of a disappointment, but there is an M249 and also the extended quick draw mag for the snipers, which you can only find in crates, by the way. You can't find it on land. They actually changed that a while back. You can find extended mags, but not the quick draw ones. And that time difference can make all the difference when you're in the sort of quick-paced firefights where you need to get that last shot off to kill someone before they kill you. So being able to get that is pretty good, especially for Zero. You might be holding on to maybe even an AWM or M24 or any of the DMRs which can equip it.
And Zero has been one of those standout players on the upgraded guns when we've seen him in the past. So we'll see what the rest of TRD can do now that they've managed to pick themselves up some upgraded weapons. They've gotten an early fight. This is where TRD tend to shine. We've seen this in the past. They get involved in these early 4v4s, especially on a map like Vikendi, where it is compound to compound, where there is a lot of fighting that can happen if you're just trying to go for a breach and the circle hasn't closed in yet. Where TRD have been in trouble is when a bunch of teams third party.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that they actually managed to get in there, kill them, and survive, with only one knock as well, is really impressive. And it actually sort of indicates that they've kind of taken this a little bit more seriously. They've actually jumped back into, right, how do we fix this? How do we play as a team properly? Seems to be working, and they might just be able to work off that momentum.
Let's hope it's not premature here. Now, this is going to be, actually, I believe SNT coming in here, the formerly named 69 SWAT, Lashin at the head with the, I want to say captain moniker because we don't know for sure, but he's certainly the standout player. And this is the reason. There are two teams with the 69 clan tag. One of them has changed to SNT.
Always very nice and easy for them to do that for us. But nonetheless, back to Kurd Squad here, who haven't really faced off against too many teams yet. They did take on a couple of members from KA earlier, if I remember correctly.
All right. Let's get a drum roll for the next circle. I'm just tapping the desk. I don't think that's really going to come through. Please give us some Dino Park. I mean, you know, I'd take Castle, to be honest, because that would be really funny. But let's see what happens as it'll close in a little bit more. Most of the team's inside.
You know, I'd actually like a Castlewood, because it's actually quite an interesting place to fight. Whenever I've played on the Castle, it's a really deep one.
It's still in play.
Castle is, but I don't think Headhunters will be for too much longer.
Well, we'll have to see as they're up against IQM here, moving around the side. Headhunters, we have seen them have some successful pushes in the past, just not as many as a lot of other teams. And we'll see how this fight goes on. Mustafa, he chucks the nade and he just moves out of town. It's a good position for Headhunters, though.
Yeah, I mean, they're kind of in equal situations here. I mean, for the BAP, or Bait brother, he can actually jump onto that roof and get a better position, but I don't think he quite knows that he can do that. If he did that, he'd actually be able to potentially get some sight lines onto a few of the players.
Did Light Pirates just get eliminated? We just saw the team counter drop down to 14.
Yeah, they must have done, because RBK were taking them on.
That is a bit of a surprise based on their performance, the double chicken dinners on their last day of the group stages. So we'll have to see, confirm that one a little bit later. Julius starts off by getting the cap onto Wolf, knocking him down. This is a good start for Headhunter. Trying to rectify their performance from previous days. Good pre-fire there. And IQM, they turn it right on around. They still have 2 knocked members, but they are going to go for the finishing blows here. Tomb has no health left. If he takes 1 shot, he's downed.
He's just playing around the
game of chicken.
wall here. If he has a single nade, that would work fantastic.
Dr. Savage! He was way up in the outskirts of that compound. Nicely done.
He's just clutched this for them. If it wasn't for him, they would have died, but now it's going to be down to Mustafa.
Can he carry it? Can he get his teammate back up right now? He's trying to find himself into a safe position to be able to do it, but I don't know if that's going to be the case.
I think he's lagging a little bit. Nightmare.
There's Mustafa, and Nightmare lights him up. That's going to be down in 14th place. HeadHunterr showing their colors and taking down IQM.
And now we see why IQM don't actually group together, because they know they can't actually play as a team, which kind of worries me, the fact that they are playing in a team-based game.
Should have split.
They can't actually play. So, I mean, to be fair, if they want to come into a team-based game and just separate off, I'm all for that. New and different messes are pretty interesting. And when you have it, so some of these teams playing like that, it's quite cool. Nonetheless, though, Jasnair from 963 is running through the field, through the wheat, away from these guys. KS have heard the
I didn't know he was
shots.
Theresa May.
I was going to make that comment, but
I know British references, just not as many as you, my friend.
Good. I'm glad you got that one, though. That's good. But yeah, Kurd Squad have heard those shots, and it seems like they're going to come on here. And when it comes to the skill range, Kurd Squad have been quite sort of average in regards to their whole sort of side of like their groups. They've never really overachieved, but they've never underachieved.
That is another thing. They are a very consistent team. Now, I was wondering where you were going with that one, because I wondered if maybe the fans would disagree with you, the Kurd Squad multitudes, as you will.
Edgy, mate.
Yeah, well, they're pretty good, for sure. Now, Dr. Savage in the scope of Ari from Kurd Squad as he looks to drive away, and he realizes way too late that he had nowhere to go. This is a great shot. Ebo managing to get the finisher, so HeadHunterr down to 2 players, and with the blue closing in, they're going to be in trouble.
What a play coming out there. I think that sort of delayed shot from the KS member actually just did them great justice, and now they should be able to potentially get 1 or 2 more members.
Nightmare trying to speed away. That's Golden Boy, substitute for the KS side. Can't quite finish the job, but he did get them very low. And unfortunately for Julius, he's kind of left without a vehicle here, so he could be picked off, and HeadHunterr are just going to try to survive.
Yeah, so I think Kurd Squad are probably going to just go for that vehicle or run into the circle, because it's actually not too far for them. And then they may well just try to cut out Julius as he tries to run in. But we will see what ends up happening there, because the circle
Closing in.
Dino Park, I think, is about to get cut out, or it will be a hardship towards it.
All right, well, it looks like we
Castle's
might get a castle play. This is going to be absolutely insane if it happens, but Villa, Abbey, Villanova, all of these still inside of it right now, and the team's still making their moves in. We are slowly narrowing down the number of teams still available.
So my prediction for this one is that it's going to land near Villa, within sort of 100 meters.
So what does this mean for the team still involved then, Tom?
It's going to be very difficult, because we have a lot of teams down south who are going to have to move upwards. And a couple of them might be able to get bits of loot. There's 2 crates we can see dropping down there. A bit of an interesting one.
That was SWAT 69. We haven't actually seen much of them all game.
They've been very quiet, and that's kind of unnerving. It's kind of like a velociraptor, you might say, being very sneaky and a
Smalls, is that you?
Sneaking around.
You know, to be honest, I don't remember the Velociraptors being that sneaky. I mean, sneakier than the T-Rex.
Oh, no, they definitely were. If you go back,
It's been a while since I've seen Jurassic Park, man. We need to do that tonight. Let's do that. A little bit of post-game caster bonding, right?
Yeah, you know, nice date. I've got it.
Yeah, there we go.
I'm in, guys. I'm in.
Let's make it
Mr.
happen.
Devin, he's inviting me to a date, but
wow, we're on a first-name basis now.
Exactly.
Okay,
Let's do
Tom.
it. But what are these guys doing? I mean, 46 loot. They're definitely one of the teams that haven't really been able to perform fantastically.
Until the final day.
Yeah, the final day kind of saw them come in and pick up 2 chicken dinners on day 5 for their final performance. It was them and LP that managed to pick up.
Yeah, it was the day where we had complete upending of the expectations. 46 loot. Their first win actually did come on Vikendi, and that was one that you could almost say maybe they managed to kind of sneak into it. LP there with their 3 members
They're
still
alive.
up. Yeah, I thought they got eliminated. I was completely wrong about that, so somebody else dropped down.
Yeah, I think
that makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, I think 2 people died at the same time. Okay, that makes me happy. I'm not biased, but I do like that. So
we all like the Dancing Pirates, man. Come on.
Exactly. I mean, they danced their way on that day, and it was fantastic. And
straight to your
look
heart.
at them again. They're moving.
Yep, this is not a dance move. This is, are they doing the worm, maybe? Come on, guys. Show me what you got.
Wearing those hot
Show
pants.
me what you got.
Show me what you've got. Well, they've got pans in their hands. What are they going to do?
Yeah, I guess. Well, I mean, they're not like doing the melee party where we saw them. Friendly fire turned off. They were just bashing each other with the frying pans over and over again.
What are 963 doing here? They're just out of the field. Are they looting a crate? Is there a crate there? I don't think there is.
Don't think so. I mean,
There's
this is where it gets a little chill, a little quiet, as you might say, from the AM side. But yeah, so it's good to see LPI is still in. 46 Loot still in. Both of those teams really upended expectations on their final group stage of play. And the way 46 Loot did it, they won on Vikendi, where they kind of had a solid placement within the circle and in a final house, and they defended from an AXT breach, which was at that point unheard of. But then on Erangel, they just crushed it. They got 17 frags, and we were thinking, where the heck did these guys come from? We've not seen anything from them at all the entire tournament. They were usually out last, and then they just stepped it up.
Well, here we go. Some action gonna be coming in from the SNT guys as 963 guys try to rotate on over.
This is a mismatch fight. This is a mismatch fight. 963 are big underdogs. SNT are in the top 3 right now. I think there's only one way this is gonna end, Tom.
I mean, you got to have hope for the underdogs here, but it's very difficult to hold that, especially when they're pushing into a compound, which is a little bit unfortunate because they didn't do a scout, they didn't do a test grounds, but they are spread out nicely here. So I do give them hope in the fact that they are spread out and they're not grouped together, which we do see too often, but they're out in the field. They don't really have the angled sort of advantage or anything.
Yeah, not a lot of hard cover here. Now we'll definitely see where the next circle shrinks down, and Castle is still on the table. Let's make it happen. And I think if you are the S&T side, you're going to want to make a quick finish of this because you will have to go north soon.
Yeah, so they're going to have to push past 963. So it'd be interesting to see if 963 are just like, you know what? We're just going to chill, which I think they will do. That tends to be their sort of situational sort of play when it comes to this. And S&T, on the other hand, I think they're going to go for the flank, which might prove the end of them.
Yeah, that might be the case. Still 13 teams here as we get into the 19-minute mark. This is slowing down a little bit. In fact, we watched a little bit of the VODs from the India semifinals day 1 earlier today to sort of get a little bit of review in, and this looks a lot similar to it in the sense that it has been quiet. Few teams went out early on, but for the most part, it's been slow sailing into the final couple of circles.
Yeah, it's been pretty good, and we've actually got a couple of teams in. There's actually a team we haven't talked about, and that is AM.
It's true. They've had a couple of stand-up performances themselves, even more than the likes of RB, who we really put it on H mode, who has been the big standout, but we'll see if the rest of his team can start to carry some of that weight here as they are playing to the outside of that circle. With only 3 players loaded in, bit of a disadvantage to begin with, but they're going for the movement into this house to try and defend it against the AM breach.
I think AM actually only have 3 members. One of them must have died earlier on, or is just off screen. We will see. But Kurd Squad going to be rolling up on the Dancing Pirates LP in a moment.
Oh, man, this is going to be a battle of fan favorites. I don't know if I'm going to be able to watch. Whoever wins, it's going to feel bad, man. Ebo's on way out in front right now, and he's actually breached into the bottom floor. LP, they just wait, they just bait, and as soon as you're in their sights.
They need to not make any sounds, but Koro has made a step, so I think now Ibo and the rest of the players know they're here, and this is unfortunate, because when you're trapped in a building like this, and against Kurd Squad, who actually do have a decent history on this sort of situation.
Solid tactics, sure, coming out of that squad here. We'll check back in with that in just a minute because it looks like S&T are trying to move away from 963, who have not given up their position at all, as Mustafa throws down a smoke to try and get himself away. Not sure where the rest of the S&T members are, but here we are, back with this breach. Up into the house they go.
And we will be seeing the firefight coming out, so it's going to be a 4 versus 3. This is not going to be in the favor of LP to be able to win this.
Patience from the KS side. Koro is going to be the one manning the front of the door here. Meanwhile, that looks like S&T are taking out 963 pretty easily as you like, and I think they're eliminated in 13th place.
A little bit unfortunate for them, but nonetheless, tried their best.
They always do. That's something we got to give them some credit for. They definitely earned their way into the top 24. KS trying to earn their way to the upstairs right now. And that next circle, man, it's still going to clip the edge of Castle, but there won't be much hope for it. This is going to be a very open end on Vikendi.
What's actually quite interesting is there's actually headhunters who may be proving a little bit difficult for these guys as well, but the nade.
Good nade there. You got to be moving. That's going to be the down onto Koro. Ari looking to come up the building as he tries to peek around the side. Remember, this is third-person perspective. You can always get some of those intervals here, and that's another down. LP's Issa gets dropped and eliminated very quickly. That is going to be the end of our Dancing Pirates in this round.
That is so disappointing, but hopefully headhunters actually make a purchase on this and get a couple of frags, but we'll have to see.
They're going to get revenge from earlier.
Kurd Squad are actually getting their own kills. They've already knocked one of them down.
Man, these guys are so good. I mean, they were top 10 in the entire tournament so far. So as we talked about how maybe they didn't have as many stand-up performances as the other solid teams, they never fell below a certain threshold. They're always able to step it up and deliver a consistent performance, which we can't say about every single team here. As Nightmare gets dropped down. Headhunter's out in 11th.
That aim was terrible. I'm not even going to be nice about that, Headhunters. Come on, go to the practice range.
Call them Air Hunters now.
Air Hunters, yeah. Miss Hunters, whatever. But
That's just mean.
Yeah, but when you have the opportunity, tap away, or just hold it down, but at least try not.
I mean, it looked like he was just hip firing the whole way.
Yeah, it's a little bit unfortunate. But moving on, we're going to be seeing Rush to Crush potentially crushed by TRD, the guys who have a lot to do in regards to redemption. And Rush to Crush might be one of their next victims. These guys have 4 kills already. They've wiped out 1 team, and that was just Survive. And now, maybe even Rush to Crush.
See what happens as the Molotov comes out. Now, TRD and potentially Rush to Crush, they might be in danger of getting third-partied here because there's a lot of teams not too far away from them, but they're all preoccupied. You can see LTK starting to take out some of the IK members. 46 loot watching on. But this is what TRD do best. In a straight-up 4v4, hard to beat them.
Yeah, like you said, I think that potential third-party situation might be the backfall, and unfortunate for them because there's so many teams around them, including the 46 loot guys. But they have the advantage here. They're chucking in the grenades, and I don't think 46 loot are wanting to engage.
I don't think so either. We'll see the rest of the teams just outside the edge of the circle trying to move their way in. AXT with 3 members trying to make it happen. You can see SNT moving into the area as the blue starts to close in. Still 10 teams alive. That's 37 players in this one. LTK a little wounded trying to keep IK at bay. Narcos on the high ground. Look at that. He's just lighting him up, but unfortunately, he gets knocked as well.
Not before his teammates.
That's all of AXT.
That is impressive. So we do actually see SNT get the frags there onto Executors. What a fantastic play coming out from them. Now IK going to be under fire from LTK, and this time we have 99 playing, and I'm glad to see that. We do have Slum and Evil as well, so the choices in regards to substitutions been quite interesting. It's good to see. TRD still trying to make this work for them, and they do get a knock.
Yeah, Damu's going to be down from the Rush to Crush side. Here's the player still left alive on the map. You can see a couple of teams that have taken a lot of damage, and now it's going to include TRD, Hackshot trying to get some revenge as the Rush to Crush members fall to their knees. There's still 2 more alive here. Who's going to win this fight? Hackshot getting dropped down in a spray of bullets, and it's just going to be down to Hixu. Can he make it happen? He's got 1. He's got them all. TRD live again.
So close. So unbelievably close.
So dangerous.
And it comes down to what I said that they were doing yesterday. They were going for finishes before they got the actual wipe. And that is uncharacteristic for them. They tend to go for the complete wipe in what they were doing beforehand, but this time they made the mistake and they almost lost it because of that greed.
Yeah, that's part of being a little bit cocky. That's the same attitude that leads you to not practicing nearly enough, but it does seem that TRD have very much learned their lesson. This is encouraging to see on the first game of day 2. They've gotten everybody back on their knees. This is the TRD that we like to see. Meanwhile, Kurd Squad lighting them up on the other side. RBK in some trouble.
I do have to say, Ivo has been my standout player for Kurd Squad.
100%.
And that aim there proves it.
Oh, he's an absolute aim god. He's not the only one, though. Golden Boy starting to prove true to his name there, lighting him up a little bit, and that will be the elimination, it looks like, of the RBK side out in 8th place.
That was just too easy for them. It didn't even seem like they were trying too hard. They were just like, cool, we're going to literally run and gun on these guys, and RBK just crumbled.
I think methodical is a good way to describe Kurd Squad. Yeah. They kind of come in, they do the sweep, and they make the play. Now, there's still a few more fights as Hixu is lighting up the LTK members. They were the double chicken dinner winners yesterday. Now, it hasn't seen much from them earlier. Down to 2 members, Mojrum and Evil, in the sights of Kremik from IK.
It would be really interesting to see these guys get a new kill record on TRD.
I would love it, man. Our record, what's 20?
20,
and it's from SWAT 69 on Miramar?
Yeah, we do actually still, we don't hold the regional record. The region record is actually 23 on the Indian region. Let's have a look at the fight going on here.
Hixu's trying to add to those numbers for sure, man. But this is going to be S&T and AM face off against each other. We'll check back in with that in a minute.
The LTK currently going to be stuck in between a couple of the IK members and also TRD. But this also indicates that TRD could get third parties if they're not careful.
Yeah, and that's always the danger, right? So they should be keeping appraised of what's happening. Things have started to slow down for just a second. As I say, there's a bunch of bullets flying, but this is the quietest it's been in the last couple of minutes. You can see the SNT members, 4 members strong, all full health. Ooh. They've been having a fantastic game, but what can they do against these AM members? And Golden Boy from Kurd Squad, he's going to take his sights away from him. He's not entirely sure where to aim.
The captain trying to look around the rock here, but
dangerous rock.
As soon as you step into the water there, Butcher has advantage.
Oh, look at Lashin. He's the ace on the top. Captain, he goes in, but he's going to give his life for the cause. Let's see if the rest of SNT can clean house here. It doesn't look like that's the answer. A rare miss here from SNT, and they will lose out to Air of Madness big time, unless the big clutch can come in. It doesn't look like it's happening. AM, they lose 1. They get 2 knocks, but they do manage to get the kill, and SNT are out in 7th.
7th isn't a bad placement, but that was a really poor judgment call for them. They should have used utility, or they should have gone through above. Going under through the water like that is just asking to be killed.
Yeah, a little bit of surprising play there. Now, LTK have managed to stay alive as they face down opposite the house. The TRD are inside. And you can also see Kurd Squad on the outside looking in. IK on the other side. Looks like our final field of play will get revealed pretty quickly here. It's a crossroads, and everybody wants a piece of this action.
So this is going to be very ugly, but TRD have the advantage in regards to the cover. But we do actually see a bit of healthy cover coming in from
Golden Boy knocked by a
Loot. Actually, 46 Loot have the hard advantage here.
They do, and they've had a very quiet round. They've just been holding in this small compound, this small house. We'll see what they can get done here as KS. They're bringing a couple more members through the smoke, trying to get them back onto their feet. We've only got 6 teams left, Tom.
Yeah, you know what? 46 Loot, they're in a single building. A single grenade could kill them all. AM are going to be the contenders against the guys of KS, trying to hide behind those rocks if they're not careful. And then we also have TRD, who will be looking to take shots at them and also hold out the likes of LTK, who are outside the blue, or will be in a moment.
Absolutely. Zero does get the knockdown onto Rowan, and it looks like Evil from LTK is going to be put in the ground by Zico from 46 Loot. Hoger turns it around onto Hackshot, but he gets downed immediately, and it looks like that should be the end of it for IK. They've still got somebody alive. It's Kawan, but he's a lone man.
He's been very sneaky, but he has actually managed to make it into the circle in a decent position. And so that's actually 11 total kills for TRD so far, beating their record of yesterday, where they didn't really achieve much.
Kind of hard to beat not hard to beat a record yesterday where you didn't get a whole lot done for sure. Now, 46 Loot trying to light up Kurd Squad on the outside. There are a lot of favorite teams coming through here. We'll see how it all stands as Ari gets headshot by Zero. A lot of downs being knocked. He puts the scope on again, putting that gun to some good use.
This is just some insane damage, and even, you know what, that's another down coming out.
Zico! Between Zico and Zero, 46. Man, Kurd Squad are in trouble.
Yeah, I think TRD and the guys on 46 Loot are going to be killing them.
That's Ebo getting dropped down. That's the ace for Kurd Squad. We'll see as the LTK members going in for the breach there. Modrem, he's inside TRD's house, but he's not going to last much longer there as Hixu staying up, and that means TRD can get Kevin back onto his feet.
14 kills. They have double the kills of that of SNT. SNT currently placed 3rd or 2nd, was it?
SNT currently, I think
3rd actually. But it's just insane players coming out from them if we can have a look. So yeah, I mean, I think it's actually 2nd place right behind that was
3rd actually. Third actually. It's Live to Kill currently in 2nd, but they just got dropped out in 6th place here, Tom. This is getting real spicy with Loot 46 showing their true colors. Kurd Squad still hanging in there. TRD looking like the favorites, and 2 more teams in the bucket.
Yeah, so unfortunately for KS, the fact that they're still alive is cool, but unfortunately they're going to have taken heavily losses against their armor, which could have deteriorated and gone, so now there's going to be less shots needed to kill them, and also their meds are going to be suffering. So see what happens here, but TRD going to be under pressure from that 46 Loot. Not something I would have thought I would have to say.
Yeah, weirdly enough, but of course after that group stage performance, they really showed that they have the skills to pay the bills. They just hadn't shown it earlier on. Here comes AM! The Arab Madness coming through, but it looks like B52 is going to get dropped to his knees. Didn't realize that 46 were going to be there, and he gets finished off as M managed to do it through the smoke. However, he's getting lit up here as TRD are making moves behind this car.
Oh, no. What's happened here? So
Kevin took fall damage.
It's Karan, actually. I think he's on the other side of this wall. Do they not realize he's there? 3rd person. But Karan is going to be potentially under fire.
He's turning around a bit fire of his own. Last IK member, he definitely doesn't know they're there. He gets back off to his hands and knees, and down to 4 teams right now. Kawan getting dropped. That's IK in 4th.
Somehow they've made it, but KS have also made it to the other side.
And that's going to be quiet dropping down. That means Arab Madness, they're out in the 4th place position, down to 3 teams finally. Who's going to take this one? It looks like Luke 46 getting the KS members down. That's going to be Golden Boy knocked to his knees. They're still up, but it's just all over for the crying. It's just Ari left up and available. He runs straight into the smoke.
He's so close. He's down. Going to get down. What an impressive shot coming out from 46 Loot, but their position is known. Last 2 teams, it's going to be 46 Loot versus TRD.
This is spicy. The team that was the top of the tournament versus the team that really flexed their muscles on the final day of groups and has lived up to it ever since. The redemption story coming true, though, for TRD, and it's just a fight between 2 compounds. Who takes it on Vikendi? Zico moving around for the breach, but it looks like Hixu is looking to do the same thing. He tries to light up Hazim. Doesn't quite land the shot. Opens it up once again. There's the down.
He's knocked 2, and now the breach is going to be coming in from Hixu as well. He's just pushing 100 bullets of damage here. 41 left in the mag.
Hixu going in a little bit low on the health bars, but he does manage to get the finishing blow here. That's only gotten Kevin down onto his knees, and it looks like this is going to be it. Hackshot coming in, and he's an absolute crack shot here as Moomin tries to move around, but he's just going to have to stutter step, and that is it. And it's going to show the chicken dinner for the real deal, and they are back.
What an insane turnout here coming out from these guys. I mean, that's a total of 19 kills.
So close to getting that record match for the ME region, but how about that for TRD? Brush off the dust of yesterday like it was nothing, man.
That's one way to be able to show people that you're back, and that yesterday was just a fluke, and that you are looking to try and capture back that first place.
Man, what a round on Vikendi there. And, you know, it is a bit hectic. We had a great circle this time around, so it was really nice to see the team stepping it up.
Yep.
Honestly, I'm not disappointed in, like, almost any of our teams, just because the ones that did drop down early, they've had some rough rounds. You kind of come to expect that a little bit from them. The likes of Just Survive, that looked more like their group stage performance. Maybe LPI going out a little early was a bit of a bummer. Maybe we'll see them come alive, but 46 loot, they just crept along slowly and silently. And you can get away with that. You can find a compound that you will not get found out in and make it work.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned LPI there. Unfortunately, I don't think they managed to loot up that well. I think they got interrupted during their loot phase, and they had to run away, and they didn't recover from that situation. Unfortunately, if you do get pushed out of your original loot location, you tend to be kind of stumbling along. You don't tend to be able to get back into the right path, the smooth path of being able to just move along, get the kills, get the good rotations, which is something they're good with. But unfortunately, this time around, it was a little bit disappointing. But let's have a look at the highlights here.
Yeah, it all started with Kurd Squad lighting it up onto KA in the very beginning of the round. These were the early fights before the circle started to close in. It was just about territory. Same thing that happened when you talked about Light Pirates kind of being forced out of home. TRD, it looked like we could be in for a repeat of day number 1, but then Kevin stepped up. They turned it around. They took out JS, and this was just the first of many successful fights.
Yeah, I mean, this was the point in time I saw a bit of old school TRD, so it was really nice to see. But then HeadHunterrs, again, as usual, a little bit disappointing. But
they did get a win.
They did get the win against these guys.
And that was a good thing.
Yeah, they did manage to walk away from this one for a while. They did eventually bump heads with the wrong people. But IQM, playing as a team, unfortunately, not their best time.
Yeah, I mean, playing as a team in name only, right? And this is where KS starts to turn things around from the opposite side. They just light up HeadHunterr and managed to nearly eliminate him. Ari, he was the kill leader with 7 on the board. Hixu here coming in to try and clean some things up. And then we see LTK. This is the first time they actually got involved in any of the fights.
Yeah, no, considering they're definitely one of the best teams from yesterday for a while. Sorry, not yesterday, but before. It's interesting to see them sort of not perform so well today.
This is interesting for sure. S&T, I don't know what the heck they were doing here. They just high-fived into death.
Yeah, that was a really dumb play from them. I mean, it was quite fun and like quite funny.
And
to,
AM is
to
pretty
watch,
happy with it, I imagine.
Yeah, AM are like, okay, yeah, we'll definitely take a couple of these free kills, which they definitely managed to do. And then we see 46 loot. They actually managed to get some interesting shots over towards KS, and thanks to that, they damaged a lot of their vests. So when they tried to go across and over, it didn't work. And then AM trying to cross over didn't work either.
Yeah, this was great shots from Hazem on 46 loot. I mean, I don't know why it took so long for these guys to really show their true colors, but they are just playing like a revitalized squad ever since their first win on Vikendi. Things have looked up, but it was TRD, just that much better. I think they do have some real contenders on their hands, though.
Yeah, but that play coming in with that from Hixu with the M249, probably one of the MVP play for me. He managed to down 3 of the members with that one clip and that one gun. It's quite amusing considering it came into question whether it was actually any good when we first spoke, and I was talking to you about the game, and then he comes in, he's like, I'm going to show Devin how to do this.
We talked all about Zero, though, but it was Hixu in the end that actually
Hixu,
did take the M249 in and really accelerate it to new heights.
He also clutched them when they went. 3 of them went down that building because they overagreed. He came in and he clutched it for them.
We haven't been giving him his due, man.
Yeah, I mean, Hixu, make sure to respond to me. I want to know your thoughts at the end of the day on Twitter. So
a little bit of a Twitter exclusive for sure. I mean, that was some good stuff, man.
Yeah.
One thing that was suspiciously absent was SWAT 6-9, and that was surprising to me. I think they might have been that team that we missed that went out early.
I think so.
If so, that's mega disappointing because that was the team that was in first place after that. Maybe you could think that's a blip on the radar. They just had a bad fight, but I want to see what happened to them, and I want to see what happens next because we are moving on to Miramar after this.
I think it might have been S&T that took them as well.
Oh, yeah, well, you know, actually, that's not that surprising because those two teams tend to go at it a bit of it. We call it the Clash of Clans for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Because they just end up fighting up against each other. But if you missed any of that action or any of the tournament action and want to see how the teams made it to where they are, go ahead to check out our website. Down below, it is clubopen.pubgmobile.com for all that information. And you can check out not just the standings and the teams for the ME region, but all around the world for the PUBG Mobile Club Open, so you don't have to miss a single minute.
Yeah, so if you want to go and have a look at the Indian results and compare it to what we're doing here, go do it. It's actually
any of the regions.
Yeah, I mean, it's quite an interesting comparison, especially EU one, and there's also the NA. Make sure to go check them out.
Yeah, and in addition, of course, make sure you hit that subscription button on our YouTube channel. Is youtube.com/PUBGMOBILE Esports for all of the VODs and highlights, as you can check it out. And as Tom likes to say,
ding dong that notification bell.
Never get tired of hearing it, for sure, so you do not miss a moment of the action. Of course, we're down with one map, but man, that was a spicy Vikendi. I cannot wait till things heat up a little bit more as we go into Miramar. But before we do that, we got to take a quick break. Don't go anywhere. More of the PUBG Mobile Club Open rolls on.
You can ding dong my notification bell.
Anytime.
Zombie, Darkest Night, the newest mode in the zombie universe, is here. This time, the rules are different. No more parachuting, as players will be placed at random locations on the map when the match begins, and there is no single winner. Players must work with their teammates to spend one long night in the match and stay alive until the sun comes up. Waves and waves of zombies will spawn during each of the 3 foggy periods at night, and supplies should only be scavenged when the fog fades. The main objective is not to defeat other players, though this doesn't mean they are harmless. Players may need to work with other teams when necessary, but should also watch their backs in case the Fragile Alliance goes south. This will be a unique experience for every player involved. This new mode also comes with a passive skill for every player. Understanding these skills will be the key to staying alive in this long night. Can you ride out the night?
Play PUBG Mobile for free.
And welcome back, everybody, once again to the PUBG Mobile Club Open. This, of course, is the Spring Split for 2019, and I am Pyrotechnics. He is Tom Wee Freeman Pickering, and this is the ME region. And that's what you're watching right now. So just in case you weren't entirely sure, we've got you covered on all the info.
Yeah, and I mean, especially after that last game, you guys are going to want a whole load of that information, especially with TRD dominating with 19 kills, a chicken dinner, massive 49 points in total, 1 point behind the top scoring team so far. Really impressive plays.
Yeah, what a turnaround, man. Day one, we saw TRD go completely uncharacteristically off balance. They never got a score above, I think it was like 7th or 8th place, maybe 1/5 finish. When they had just been dominating throughout the group stages. We heard from one of their team members they hadn't been practicing enough. Bit of a cardinal sin. You see what happens, and now they come back after a night's rest. They dominate on Vikendi, and we're going into Miramar. I cannot wait to see what happens next.
Maybe it's just part of the whole the meta and narrative that
Give
they
them
wanted
some false hope.
They're just like, you know what? We don't need to practice for a whole week. We're actually just going to practice live, and then we're going to dominate for the rest of it. We don't even need the first 4 days.
I've got a theory. Last night, after those games, they jumped into the hyperbolic time chamber, spent about like 2 months practicing, perfecting their techniques. And if you haven't watched Dragon Ball Z, go, because it's good, and then you'll get my reference. And then they just came out, and they were ready to be champions.
And then champions they were. That was a really impressive play. And my MVP completely so far has got to be Hixu. Very well played, mate. M249 is definitely your gun. It's got 100 bullets. It's high damaging, and you can run and gun with it. But it's not even just the gun that really did it for him. The decision-making he did was better than the rest of his team to a point. One of the biggest issues that I think they're going to face and could be their downfall, today could have just been the fluke, and they got lucky in the fact that they went in for their kills instead of waiting to go in for the wipe of the rest of the players. And that almost led to the downfall. And I think that probably would have been maybe 8th or 9th place.
Greed can definitely be a bit of an issue for them, but I do want to give it up for 46 Loot as well, who had a standout performance, 2nd place, a last stand against the likes of TRD, which no team on their form has really been able to hold up against. So it wasn't just a last-day Herculean effort from 46 Loot to qualify. They really did level up over the course of the last couple of weeks, and we're starting to see this team representing Egypt really carry some weight.
Yeah, and I mean, I think they are quite literally the only team we've got that are representing sort of
we have a couple of different Egyptian players. I think there's a few, but maybe today we'll have to check in when it comes into game.
The whole team, like, actually representing, I think it is. But either way, their decision-making was really good. They decided instead of engaging TRD directly across the road, they just played it safe and engaged everyone else. They knew TRD were there, but they were just like...
Get to them at the end. They're the final boss.
Yeah, we don't need to go for them. They've tried it before, and they've definitely been punished. So it's actually really good that they made that smart choice to just play around them and all just stay in that one building. It was a little bit dangerous, but nonetheless, it worked. So let's have a look at the up-to-date standings here. Devon, are we going to be seeing any surprises?
Not in the top 8, because teams have not played enough games to really knock their way up the top. So you can still see 1 through 8 still dominated by a couple of teams. Well, okay. Yeah, fair. There's a few teams that are moving up the way, but they were already involved in the sides today, and I think SWAT 6-9, they barely moved because they go out so early, and that was the big surprising thing for me. This team's in top, and they got almost no points. We won't see the next match come in just yet. Looks like we have a few issues with the statistics, so we'll get that fixed, and we'll get it back to you for now.
Yeah, and I mean, I can't remember exactly how many points TRD had. We'll update you later on, but they did just get 49 points from that game, and then considering the bottom team there, Nox had 58, there's no way that they're not actually going to go past them into the top ones. But they've already got 4 games played. So that was actually technically their 5th game out from Group A. Group C is where I want to see any surprises, and I think 46 Loot are going to be that team where we might see them jump up.
100%. Good frags from them.
Yeah, easily into the top 16, maybe even the top 10.
Yeah, I'm trying to look at the other Group C teams and see who really impressed me as well. I think, well, we didn't see Kurd Squad yesterday, I believe. So they come up and they get a 3rd place finish. And obviously big crowd favorites as well. They have a lot to live up to on the fans' expectations. But getting a 3rd place finish, and considering how under heavy fire they were in one of the worst positions of that final fight, and they made it all the way to the top 3. That's impressive. That takes a lot of grit and determination, and you've got to hand it to them. I think the unfortunate thing was that their ace player, Ebo, just got aced out of the fight early before it started. Yeah. And the team did seem a little bit lost after that fact. Yeah,
it was a bit unfortunate because they were in a good position across the road, but where they were at on that crossroads wasn't going to be the end point. So they had to try and cross over, so they kept on going for the peaks, kept on getting peppered and knocked down, so they had to keep on reviving each other, try and check out nades,
and they ran out of smokes eventually.
And they managed to get 1 player across out of the 3 who tried to cross, and that was Eri. He ended up dying to 46 Loot anyway. So that was a full, I think, wipe 146 loot against Kurd Squad.
Yeah, and actually, that's another thing to point out is that Ari had a lot of the team's kills as well. I think he might have been on the top of the kill leaderboard for the game. And this really just goes to show there's a lot of power in the KS side. Now, it looks like we'll just be getting straight on into the game. This is Miramar. If you haven't been used to seeing it, it's because we haven't had it for a couple of weeks, but we are back, and the plane is coming in from the northwest.
So having a look at the plane, it's going to be quite hard for a lot of players to hop on over towards Campo Militar. Unless they decide to go for vehicle spawns, but I don't think we tend to see that from these guys, so we'll see what ends up coming out. But there is opportunities to go down to Prison, Puerto Palacio as well, and Los Leones, and a couple of others. Impala, I doubt we'll see people go to. It's a little bit too far off the plane path.
Yeah, we haven't seen Miramar here in the PUBG Mobile Club Open for a little while now. So, Tom, enlighten me a little bit about, you talked about where the teams might be dropping based on the plane path and based on the circles, but where would you go if you're one of these teams? Where would you head towards first?
El Pozo or El Azahar or a couple of other ones. In this one specifically, El Pozo is definitely one of the places that's been pretty good for a lot of these teams in the past when they first played, and also it's generally pretty good in regards to even if there's another team there, you can still play, you can still loot. And then, Monty's actually one of the favorites as well for a couple of teams. Power Grid's a very good one, and then San Martin is one of the more obvious choices for players. And then also there's loot-based, compound-based looting where you actually separate across the different compounds and then go from there.
All right, looks like it is going to be a circle way to the south, and it centers on Los Leones. A lot of the teams inside of here, it's only a couple that aren't. Another big surprise, perhaps, IQM once again together as a team.
There is a tiny, tiny chance that this actually lands down on Prison Island.
Oh, dear.
That is small, but it has been done. I have seen it, and in a couple of the other sort of competitions and tournaments on mobile and also PC, there has been circles on those islands. But nonetheless, let's have a look at this. There's actually going to be, a total of 3 teams here in Picado. I talked about this being one of the most sort of aggressive and most dangerous places for a lot of these, on this map, the hot drop area. This is the first time we're actually seeing that come through. I think the max we saw before was 2 teams. This time around, we're going to be seeing 3 teams land in towards Picado, taking a few different areas. There's the casino, and then there's the boxing ring, and then there's also the general buildings. And then TRD, they've landed right next to IK in Les Leons.
I'm definitely going to favor TRD in that one based on their previous performance. They do like a straight-up 4v4 if they get into it, but it's a quiet start. All looting. It looks like 2 players may not have loaded in, but everybody else is involved. Good to see LTK still using 9-9. We talked about it yesterday, how we thought it was a bit of a mistake. However, they've yet to really show the performance with him that we came to expect because they got the double chicken dinners yesterday without him.
Yeah, and they were over towards Chimasera, but let's have a look at this. So Headhunters are trying to fight up against AXT, but Clown definitely has the advantage on height. Gun-wise, he also has the Scar, so that's a pretty decent start. Med-wise, he's also not too bad. But when it comes to sort of situational advantage, they may well have it, especially because Rush to Crush are going to be coming up behind Headhunters.
This is Rush to Crush, man. They play like a bunch of sharks. They just wait for some blood to be in the water, and then they go in.
They had the bullets, Devin. They're going to be running in. They want the kills.
Every single time. Now, we'll see if it'll be successful here. It looks like it's actually HeadHunterr that are making a play to breach into AXT's compound. And Rush to Crush not too far behind, so we'll see who wins this one.
This is so unfortunate. They should really be aware. And look, Lord is actually not even in that building for AXT or Demon. So there's only 2 of these members.
Rodol, and he does light one of the HeadHunterr members up. It's going to be Julius here, and you got to be careful trying to breach in here. Looking for that free fire. Rodol going in. He takes a few pot shots and turns it around. Good as you like. Dr. Savage trying to get it in there, but HeadHunterr, they just do not have the same aim as the AXT members. Rodol looking to clutch it out. He finally falls to the hands of the BAP, but that is some heavy casualties here for HeadHunterr. And it looks like for AXT as well, as Rush to Crush just come in and third-party the heck out of this fight.
And Clown has somehow made out of that building, left Rotal to die, and he's going to be running for the hills here. The Demon is still alive in the background as well, and they're going to leave Rush Across to deal with them.
Feels a little unlucky if you're AXT. That's the second time they get involved in a really early fight that they clearly did not want. They're usually the team that's much more favored when doing the breach, but defense-wise, they're not quite as strong.
Yeah, so in that situation, what I would have done is when they're trying to rush up the stairs, and they knew they were coming, they had full idea, the full knowledge of this. Chuck a smoke onto the stairs. They're less likely to push, they're a little bit unsure what's going to go on, or a Molotov grenade. If they had none of those, then that's a bit unfortunate.
So HeadHunterr a little bit low on the health bars if you're Julius and Nightmare. They're actually trying to get to the roof. Dropping off may not be an option considering how many stories there are here as Rush to Crush look to get in. And you can see the AXT members still kind of like looking over their shoulders as they run away.
So you can actually get onto the roof of this building, if I remember correctly, via the stairwell outside the building. You have to jump through all the windows and go up. although that might have actually changed on the mobile version here. We'll see. I mean, Rush to Crush are trying to get them, and it's going to be, they're playing a little bit more safely than I thought they would have. But let's hop on over towards this RBK. I can't quite see those names there. Yes, it is.
Yeah, it's H-mode.
That's H-mode.
So they're just taking a bit of a drive. I mean, Miramar is a big map, and it's a lot of land, even despite the circle that we've just seen. So there is going to be a lot of teams that don't run into each other, but we'll check back in with the fight that is Rush to Crush, still making their way up here. Nasser's going to be taking point duty, and he will run face first into HeadHunterr very soon if he's not careful. This is a team that loves taking those coin flips as the fire's up. Rush to Crush looking to move in here. They see him, but it looks like it's going to be the Molotov damage, knocking down a couple of these members of HeadHunterr, but Rush to Crush are definitely not without casualties here. Tupac, Nasser both getting knocked, and HeadHunterr, it looks like they just get knocked out in 16th again.
That was really unfortunate. Unfortunately, it seems like they have an issue with being able to actually control their camera a little bit more. It seems like they need to get some practice in on there because we could actually see the vape. He knew where this player was, but he could not turn. He wasn't swiping left and being able to shoot him.
Now, rough stuff there for the boys for Bahrain. They drop out in last place and Rush to Crush clean up a few more kills. They'll be pretty happy about that. That is a team that knows not but to aggress.
And you know what? We talked about this before, that they tend to prey on the weak. And this is exactly the situation we're talking about. They pushed into a situation where headhunters were already under fire, really heavily damaged, and they were coming in as a third party, and they just went in for the rush to crush.
And AXT, they were the smart team. They decided to bail out. They knew this fight was already going to be lost. They will have to play for positioning with just 2 members. But I wouldn't be surprised if we see them going for a couple of firefights as the game goes on. They're definitely not going to breach onto the Rush to Crush house, though.
No, I think they want to try and get some revenge on them, but Clown should be running away right now. That is not a fight you should try to take.
Yeah.
Moving on towards, oh, okay,
This
LP.
is one of our teams we really want to focus on is LP. It looks like they're over at Petadicio. And they have, once again, it looks like only 3 members loaded in. It shifts away from them in the perspective, but I do want to talk about it because Light Pirates were one of those teams that we really did expect a lot from after their final day performance. Unlike 46 Loot, they didn't quite deliver, so there's still some time, but I want to see what they do this time around on Miramar.
Yeah, hopefully they're not just going to dance around, because although that's really amusing, I do actually want to see them perform, because they've shown they can perform. It was a bit like a tease. They came in, they performed, and now they're a little bit, okay, nothing happened on the first day. Are they going to be able to actually do anything today? That's going to be the real question. They're going to have the opportunity to be able to loot up here. They're not too far away from the circle, so they should be able to rotate easily. Meanwhile,
yeah, I think LPI did show their potential, but we'll see if they can do it more. Yeah, let's talk about some of these other teams, though, because Arab Madness, we see IK on the other side. We see KA as well. They're kind of just in a lot of different spots right now, just going for the loot up. It's going to be a slow start.
Yeah, I mean, KA, we didn't actually see too much success from them. We actually saw them dying to Kurd Squad, which is a little bit unfortunate because we've not really seen too much from KA. I think we've seen a couple of moments where they've played decently, but otherwise not so great. But I do want to try and concentrate on this fight because IK have an opportunity here to survive and maybe even get a couple of kills onto AM. But AM have got the, I would say, a positional advantage in regards to, in the back there, you can see a couple of members in this high-rise building having an angle on top of this building. In the meanwhile, a couple of the other guys sort of sitting around on the lower levels whilst IK are just in that one building.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting. IK tend to group quite a bit, actually, and it sometimes is to their detriment. That's a team that I think it's kind of hard to know what we make of them, to be honest, because sometimes they have good performances, sometimes they kind of fall flat on their face. But they did qualify into the top, 24 teams here, so they definitely aren't without some of their own strengths. But let's talk more about the crowd favorites here, because Kurd Squad, they've managed to find IQM here on a rotation, and they are all on their feet, but they are grabbing headshots. It's Purge who gets knocked first. Ebo, the ace, the clutch. It's going to be even more here as Tomb gets dropped down. Ebo, unfortunately, fighting inside the blue.
So they've managed to get the kills onto those IQM members, and the circle shifts down.
Ooh.
That's a hard shift. That is what we call, like, that's literally the definition of a hard shift.
It's out of there, man. Like, Los Leones is not even safe anymore.
If you have a look at the blue to the white line, it is touching. That is the hardest shift you can get in this game. So really well played. Well, not really well played, what I'm talking about. Really interesting.
Really well played, RNG.
So that's actually going to be a really well and interesting play coming out from RNG, but now it's going to be down to Executor coming under fire from that of
Demon and Clown.
AM.
AM are having a field day right now. That's B52 dropping bomb after bomb, it looks like.
Executor just can't get a luck today.
No, they can't, unfortunately. They're not eliminated just yet, but it looks like it might as well be all over but the crying. It's a rough round for AXT for sure when they just get jumped on by these other teams. Now, B52 is going to put a bandage back on himself, get himself nice and healed up. They're still well within the circle, but they will want to shift west soon.
Yeah, and so Clown has actually got the opportunity here to be able to run away, but IK might pose a threat against him being able to do exactly that. And then Clown has to actually now make it all the way across the circle, because this next circle will close in against this. He can try to recover, but if he stays in that position, AM are going to hunt him down.
We will see if the last remaining member of Executor is able to hold tough here. Now KA, I'm just going to be running straight for that one vehicle. Looks like they didn't really have a whole lot to choose from there. Actually just going into the house for some looting inside the blue. Clown will find himself a nice little spot to hide out in on the low ground, but he's got to be careful if these other teams start moving away and towards him, that he will be overwhelmed.
Yeah, I mean, his best opportunity right now is to get into a building a bit further on, find a hidey spot, and camp. And just wait for the circle to go in and try to get a better position than 15.
There we go. We're checking back in with LPI. Remember, the circle did hardship, as you mentioned, so playing a little bit there as Issa hops into the Jeep. They got a little caravan going, one car. Now, normally we talk about this not being a good strat, but to be honest, it might be the most efficient here because no one's anywhere near them.
Yeah, they've got a decent advantage here, but as soon as they get inside the circle, they may come under fire. So getting that second vehicle is really ideal. And here we have the last two members of IQM.
This is as expected from IQM. They just find themselves a nice little spot out on the prairie, set up camp, and just wait a little while until they can finally get themselves into a good position. Actually, eyeballing that prison island, and may actually shift down towards it if the circle goes that way.
I would actually say that's the smartest move for them. Just play on the fringe of that island and just stay alive.
We'll run into RBK pretty soon. No, they're going by too fast.
A
little bit of off-road action.
Yeah. Oh, but you know what? Wolf has actually spotted them, I think. And he's like, you know what? I fancy myself some kills, but unfortunately for them, it's going to be a 4 versus 2 situation.
Let's see if the Lone Wolf dies, or he'll be able to pick off the rest of RBK. Mustafa is actually wrapping around this side as the buggy's abandoned.
Did they run out of fuel, or what are they doing? There's going to be a weird situation.
RBK comes sniffing, man.
They must have heard the vehicle stop, but if they see the vehicle, then they know these guys are going to be near. And Wolf is just lying down in a small crevice next to this cliff.
I think they're just trying to bait him in here. This is some supreme confidence trying to play with a number disadvantage up against the RBK members.
Yeah, I mean, if the other IQM member, I think it's Mustafa, if he takes shots at these guys and they push too far, we could actually see Wolf play very smart and actually just take them out from the side.
All right, here comes one of the RBK members. Doesn't take the shot. Wolf is not moving a muscle right there, but he's going to get dropped down by one of the members of RBK. Who was baiting who?
I think it was AFK. I honestly think he was at AFK, and that was his
explains why he was so still.
Yeah. But why did they get outside the vehicle? And I honestly think this is probably going to be NLM, but the circle shifts down. It's going to be an island finish.
Yep, we're going to have it on Los Higos there. That is crazy on the peninsula, and it's a great spot. It would have been a great spot for IQM if they hadn't just had that happen, but you can see where RBK is. You can see Just Survive. Every one of the other teams is making a break for it, having to evacuate the towns and make their way to the south.
Yeah, so we are going to see an AM loot up and scoop up the loot on the box here of one of the last remaining members. I think it was Demon?
Looked like he
it was Demon. It was Demon because
he's still alive in this.
Yeah, Clown is still alive. IK are going to lose a member to Rush to Crush at the moment. TRD are going to try and rotate. And it's going to be very hard because there's going to be very little land here. There's a lot of water, very little land, and very little cover. 3
different vehicles here.
That's what I love to see.
Yeah, they're getting themselves split across all the ways. Only 2 in one of those cars and then 1 apiece. Kurd Squad there, they're going to be making it happen. And the Light Pirates are going swimming.
Smart choice.
Yeah, they do this too. We often have talked about how they like sitting in a house and dancing, but they're definitely not opposed to taking a dip as they can move across to the island. So this is a really interesting circle finish.
We do actually have an opposition. I think it was S&T who are swimming under the bridge.
Yeah, and that's one of the teams we wanted to see since they kind of got wiped out in 7th place last time on Vikendi after having a pretty solid performance, just couldn't watch their 6s. And here's the rest of our teams checking in. JS, IK, everybody's coming. Looks like there's a big concert out on that island. Everybody wants to make it to the show.
Maybe it's Fire Island. You never know.
Yeah, well, hopefully it'll end a little happier than that. Oh, for some of these teams, certainly going to be the case as Ates is finding the IK members out. Nice little snake in the grass move as he pops back up and finds the shots. This is great play out of the Just Survive squad.
I don't think he's going to attest to getting those kills, so fair play to him. And he has actually been one of the members from JS that I've been wanting to watch. Hello.
Yeah, AM just kind of cruising on through there right now. Well, that puts the Madness in the Arab Madness squad, and they managed to make it through. JS couldn't quite polish them off, as even the Rush to Crush boys are coming over the mountains.
And so they do actually manage to make it into a building. This is only one half of AM. I'm not quite sure where the other members are, but it's going to be an interesting one here. And look at this. So we're actually going to have 963 who've crossed over the bridge already.
Yeah, they're looking for the bridge guard right now, but 963, they need to work on the aim. We need to see this team start to pick up a couple more frags as we see these teams really getting up in each other's faces right now. LTK's members getting dropped by Ebo. An explosion comes out, and he manages to take down 2. That's going to be it for LTK. They're out in 15th.
Ouch. So 14 teams left alive right now. The first team was HeadHunterrs that went out in 16th place, followed up by 15th, which was those guys. It's a little bit unfortunate that they died so easily, but nonetheless, moving onwards.
A test looking to breach upstairs. Here's Butcher. They had to know that they made it into this house right now, so it's not a safe position to hold. Make sure you close the doors.
Ooh.
Oh, boy.
That's
everybody from AM.
Get some nades in there, is it?
Looks like at least 3.
No. So they're actually top left.
Okay, they're just overlooking. Yeah.
So there is backup here for JS, a test, but I think they're only down to, yeah, they've got 2 members standing, one's going to be Nox.
There we go. Mehmet getting dropped down to his knees as they tried to go for the breach here. Test is going to hopefully try to get his teammate back up, and Butcher still covering the way. Molotov is knocked. This could be dangerous for AM. Will they halt a ceasefire for just a second? No, it doesn't look like it's going to be the case. The pre-fire, and Butcher coming out with the shots.
Stop shooting, Butcher. He's your teammate.
Yeah, friendly fire's off, man. That's not going to do anything.
You can shoot as much as you want. You can't kill them. But let's see if
it's a bridge party.
What's happening here? 963 died?
4-6 Luke going to be holding up here. Yeah, 963, they just got completely taken over. So, you know, my math might be a little bit screwy, but apparently 46 greater than 963, and they just get wiped out in 13th.
And yeah, so we're actually down to 12 teams left alive. And obviously JS went out a little bit earlier on as well. So we're going to be seeing this fight on the bridge. And meanwhile, teams are going to have to rotate on over. And there's still a couple of members of AM still alive.
Yeah, it's going to be B52. Joining the rest of the team here. Smoke's coming in here for the 46 Luke side, and S&T trying to move across the way. RBK, they're just taking pot shots as I see everybody partying on the bridge.
I mean, that smoke on the bridge, not quite like smoke on the water, but still.
There's fire in the sky for sure this time around, Tom. 36 players still alive here. S&T trying to rush in onto 46 Luke's territory. Will they be able to do it? Mustafa on the point.
I don't know if they're going to be able to make it through this one. It's going to be very hard for them to cross this bridge, and they're going to be pushed from behind, potentially. Although it does look like most of the teams have opted in for the water. I want to see where LPI are, because they were swimming across earlier behind SNT.
Here comes Rush to Crush, man. Now you know the party started at this point. They got to be careful, though. They're getting dropped out of the car. It's going to be Tupac originally, and Damu, both of them down by the AM members. Molotov just lighting them up here.
B52 should be the answer to being able to wipe out the rest of the team members, but 3 of them down here, that's going to be an easy kill for them.
Man, great plays by AM.
Yeah. So RBK are going to be crossing. LPI have made it, but I can only see 1 member right now. It's a little bit worrying. TRD swimming across as well.
Yeah, not everybody has the boats, obviously, so they're just going to be going across, and you can't take the bridge anymore. It is way too dangerous, so everyone's just called for a temporary ceasefire. We still have 12 teams alive, but only a couple of players from some of them. Captain, he might have spotted out the last remaining member of KA.
Oh, no.
Oh, he got found out himself. He still gets the knockdown. Shotswire just didn't quite have the shots on. And actually, it looks like KA still have a couple more members, but they had split. You see Muhammad across the way.
So LP9 might be the answer to TRD's downfall as they are looking to take the shots here.
That's 2 shots. Hackshot and Kevin both down by Hama, but he gets turned on from Narcos across the way. TRD could be in some trouble here as Zero is the last man standing for his team. Hixu, is still there.
Yeah, so we have 2 members on their side, but unfortunately if they go up there, they're probably going to end up dying. So Zero is probably best off actually just avoiding this whole spot and just leaving it to be. But
doesn't look like that's the case.
He wants to go and help his team members, but he needs to get some smokes down. That should be his first call to action.
Yeah, we do know TRD are pretty good at that, but other teams, their attention seems divided right now. You can see Rush to Crush trying to keep an eye on the water as KS are there. Hixu doesn't see Muhammad.
Look behind you. He's like a piranha hiding in the water.
There we go. Looks like it's going to be Hama knocked down again. Hixu, he had his attention focused elsewhere right now. Meanwhile, the KS members looking to reach the beach, and it's going to be Nasser taking shots at that. Ahmed's going to get knocked immediately. Lashin taking down Zico from 46 Loot. Things are heating up. It's getting spicy. It's getting hot, and there's not a lot of room left.
And there's going to be an island finish, one of the most interesting ones we could see. Not the most competitive and friendly ones for everyone, but it's interesting to see how people deal with this, and it's a hard shift down.
This is where we see what teams are made of, Tom. When you get adversity in your face, will you conquer or will you fold? Hazim, he gets dropped down by Lashin. Hixu taking out Muhammad. It's fights on all fronts. Talk about third parties. This is 4th, 5th, and 6th.
That's actually really smart. They're shooting them through under the vehicles. That's definitely a higher play than we've seen before.
All right, here's 46 kind of huddling up together. KS trying to move around. IK keeping them tracked as well. AM way out in the water, and they might as well be fish. In there, looks like RBK's one of their members have managed to make the beach here. I don't know where the rest of them are. Alush does get dropped down by Evo. KS really doing double time. And RBK is opening fire right now into the TRD members. Zero's going to get dropped again.
So it doesn't seem like TRD are using smoke's a bit worrying, but NASA, he's trying to drive on through the smoke, but...
How did he make it out alive right now? He's actually right in the middle of it all.
He's not in the circle, though.
And that's the problem. It's going to keep trending towards the south right now as everyone keeps turning it on. Nasser is going to drop. That's going to be it for Rush to Crush out in 11th place.
We've still got 10 teams left alive right now. That is insane.
A lot of them have one member. You can see Kawan is going to be the one in the water right there as the blue starts to close in on him, and there's no way for him to easily get there. Moomin is tracking his every move.
So LPI are going to be in the background of all of this. They're going to be looting up, and they're going to have a potential positional advantage as we move forward.
I mean, you got a water finish, man. Where are Pirates good right now? You can definitely tell that they feel a little bit more comfortable than on dry land. We'll see if that continues to be the case here. Butcher from AM getting dropped after Zero does as well. TRD dueling it out with the best of them. La Shin, he gets dropped down. Evo's doing double time right now. And it looks like it's just people getting downed on every single team. Letting it up. That's Evo. He's finished. KS. They could be in some trouble right now. Hicksy does get dropped down by Butcher. We're down to 9 teams. Not sure who got eliminated first. It looks like it might have been TRD. They're on 10th place.
That is insane. And to be honest, I don't even really blame them for that because this is a horrible situation to be in. But Kurd Squad's still alive somehow in this situation. RBK murdering everyone left, right, and center right now. But it seems like they might come under fire. But IQM go down.
Yeah, IQM out in 7th place. That was a nice little finish there, but there wasn't a lot of land, not a lot of hope that they could manage to do it. We're still getting these fights going underway. Moomin going through, finished off. That's down to the final 5.
There's only 13 people left alive, 5 teams in total.
One of them's S&T, though, and they're full squatted up. And look at that. Clown has managed to make his way a long way around the side. Remember how Executor almost got eliminated in 16th place. Clown makes sure that it wasn't going to be any funny business.
He was actually in the top of that building as well. When all the fire started, he managed to get away. But now Golden Boy, is he going to be able to have the golden aim here against S&T? Currently, I think, probably the highest killing team here, but they have actually got 10 kills on KS.
Yeah, and this is what we see. Ari has been stepping it up big. Golden Boy, their substitute player, has been swapped in for today so far. And with this 2-man squad, they're managing to make it. Let's see if the fan favorites can deliver here up against a fully powered S&T side.
Yeah, and so S&T aren't actually inside the circle. KS potentially have the advantage here. It depends on how they play this.
Ooh, that's H-mode. He's dropped down by Clown and finished off. Great play here from the lone AXT member. Look at the RBK squad. He finds another one.
He could easily do this. Pressure's on.
Oh, and it's just by an inch right there. RBK staying alive at the very last minute and finish off AXT.
That is just so unfortunate, but he had taken a little bit of damage and he tried to go up against the M249, which just has a higher fire rate and damage rate than that M4.
Golden Boy opening up fire, not finding enough purchase there onto the S&T members as they scatter for the trees. Light Pirates, though, they're right in the middle of this all. They may very well be back on the road to a chicken dinner.
Yeah, so we're going to be seeing a bit of a butt of heads in a moment from all these teams. LP are going to be in a dangerous situation if they're not careful. I mean, KS are right next to them. SNT are going to be coming up on them. And then we've got the last remaining member of RBK.
And not to mention, we still have KS, a couple of their members, as you mentioned here, Golden Boy, Ari. They're still coming up pretty big, pretty clutch for the team. And let's see if RBK can stay alive. Nice zigzagging right now. Koro trying to find those shots, and he just sprays. Not sure if he prayed hard enough on that one, though.
So Koro trying to do some damage here. And you know what? I think KS heard us call them an average team, and they're responding with this game.
Hey, leave me out of this, man. I called him good. You called him average. They're definitely delivering right now, but Ari does get dropped down to his knees as Golden Boy might be the last man standing, and he's going to get taken out. That's 4th place finish for the Kurd Squad.
Sorry, it was good, you said?
Yeah, hey, look, top 4 is pretty good. Come on, man.
But the better team, LP, the Dancing Pirates, going to come through. And I'm just joking, guys. They're both fantastic.
You are stirring
teams.
the pot, man,
I'm just stirring the pot. We want that narrative there. And RBK somehow actually have 2 members left alive. It wasn't just one. They revived the other. And now they're coming to backstab LPI.
All right, so 9 players alive. Most of them are on SNT. Fully squatted up, but there's 2 teams with 2 players apiece. It is LPI and RBK. Who's going to win this one? See even a package coming down, but that's in the water. That's well outside of the zone, so no one's going to be going for it. Coral waiting and baiting in the brushes.
This is a really bad position, and as soon as he gets spotted, it's going to be very hard for him to be able to recover from that, and because of third person, he could easily get spotted before he actually sees them, just due to the way it works, and he has the potential disadvantage, but he is going to get covered from his teammates, so that's where the savior potentially comes in. All
right, so S&T have bodies to spare. They can definitely scout a little further ahead here. RBK decided to take to the beaches. Well, the Light Pirates have occupied a little house on the shore. There is a care package drop down, but that is bait.
Yeah, that definitely actually sounds like Pirates. You said little house on the shore instead of little house on the prairie. Definitely relative to their name of them being
Well,
pirates.
maybe they've given up their buccaneering ways. You know, they're going to settle down, have a little bit of fun. Unfortunately, they have a lot of people who want to pay them back for all the plundering over the years.
Their buccaneering ways.
Koro's outside, though. He's just posting up, waiting as
Just
SNT
sunbathing,
move
mate.
in. Yeah,
Just sunbathing. He's like, just look at
Look,
me.
it's a nice day on Miramar. Look at it, man.
On the island, he's just island life. I live on a current, like an island, probably about
You
that
do
big.
too, yeah.
So
Just about. It's quite small, but he managed to get an airport on it.
yeah, somehow. Yeah. But you know what? This is actually a really interesting situation for LPI. They've now got advantage in the next circle. And Koro's position actually just locks down a big part of it because they have to, if they push him, his teammates can cover him.
There's actually 3 people alive from LPI. It looked like it was only 2, but all 3 are alive right now. 2 inside the house. And here's Koro waiting as the sound of footsteps grow ever closer here. Shots fired. It looks like RBK, they're going to be occupying one of these compounds. And it looks like these 2 teams might be focusing more on the SNT side as Mustafa creeps his way in. Aras is going to get dropped down by Lashin, the ace shot of SNT.
That was a really terrible notice from these guys. LPI just letting these guys run on past.
Doesn't see him! It's going to be Narcos taken out. He won't get finished off. No, excuse me, he will. That's going to be evening the odds just a little bit here, but Mustafa opening fire, and it's going to be Koro drop down. LP in trouble.
SNT coming in here, looking to clean up the Pirates. RBK really happy and trying to get the second place here, or first place minimum.
All right, it's going to be Aras taken out here. There's still 1 remaining player of the Light Pirates, but will he be strong enough? 3 on 2 on 1 is the final 3 here in this circle.
We'll have to see. Somehow it's still alive in the situation, but RBK...
Captain! Dropped by Issa right now, and all of a sudden things are getting real hairy here. The RBK members hoping that these 2 teams finish each other off, but Issa is out of there, and that will be the end of the Light Pirates.
So close, but yet so far. Now RBK looking to try and clutch this out, and they've got circle advantage as well, so we could actually see this easily go to their side. And now SNT trying to recover from the situation. They can do it, but the circle's not on their favor, and now we're going to be seeing a split perspective between these 2 RBK players.
2v3. We've definitely seen greater odds be overcome here, but will RBK be able to do it, or will SNT climb it back in to the top spot with a chicken dinner finish?
You'd hope so. You'd hope they'd be able to actually finish this out. They've got a fantastic performance on the way, but you know RBK has got that God Gun. He has got the MT49. He's got fully clean level 3 gear and full health as well. Could do with doing a little bit of boosting like his counterpart has. But we'll see what ends up happening here.
You always want to get kitted out before you go in for the final boss fight, and S&T certainly have earned that moniker here on Miramar. A little bit of fire thrown down early on, and speaking of fire, some pre-fire from the RBK members as they go off for a split. S&T decided to group a little bit further there. You can see one of their members still is not the healthiest, and that's half the health bar gone as he gets behind the crate.
He has actually been spotted, so he's going to use a first aid kit to heal up a little bit there, but then he needs to act a little bit faster.
Gonna make a run behind the crate. Behind the loot crate, I should say. And this time he might be able to get something out of it. Looks like it's already been.
He's got no he's got no stims, so he's not going to be able to heal up. His teammate has got a little bit, but the Molotov.
There we go. Just a little bit of a chuck out there, and it looks like they're going to have to move. Things are getting real hot. But S&T just move off to the side.
That was so close. If he just thrown it an inch further forward, that would have worked perfectly. That nade was a little bit too far, but I might be wrong.
He's got a few to spare.
Nah, those are crazy nades.
I mean, look at how low Mustafa is right now. They could easily get it down in this one. And Captain, not too far away. Looks like they're going to be running. No gunning just yet. Man, this is a tense one. We usually don't see it get this close, and RBK, one of the members going to get dropped, eliminated now. It's going to be a 1v2 as he turns around the side, getting the 1. It's a 1v1 situation. Who's going to take the win? And it looks like it's going to RBK!
What an insane play coming out, and it's that M249 once again. He had 87 bullets of hell, and he rained them down on SNT, picking them up the last couple of kills, taking them to an insane 9 kills.
They loaded in with 3 members. This team has only had 3 players today, Tom, and they just clutched a chicken dinner.
That is so well played from them. Got to give them mad props. And you know what, SNT, they pick up 11 kills in total, so have to give them, you know, props there as well. And then
they would have liked the first place, but you definitely can't take it away from them. They delivered on all fronts this time around. S&T, they're definitely winning the war for the 69 squad tag.
Yeah, and LP, they managed to get 3rd place, but only 2 kills. But Kurd Squad, they definitely showed up, and especially Ivo, he gets 8 kills by himself. And then Ari and Ahmed get 1 kill each. He saw Ari get a bunch of kills last game, and he was like, nah, mate, this is definitely mine. This is my time to shine. So they get 4th place plus a bunch of kills. That should actually gain them an extra, like, more points rather than LPI.
Yeah, 100%. I think things definitely took a weird turn once we got the circle going so far south, and we ended up getting that like murder bridge play.
You gotta love it though.
Honestly, I loved it. I was a little disappointed that 46 kind of went in there and went into the fray. That's a team that typically have been a lot better at avoiding some of those fights, but maybe they just thought, look, the water doesn't seem too safe. We're going to pop out. We can try to hold this bridge. And unfortunately, they weren't able to do it. They did go out in 6th place, so it's not terrible for them.
Yep.
But after the last game, I honestly thought that 46 loot were going to end in the top 3 again on Miramar.
I think the bridge was probably the best play, just due to timing. Unfortunately for them, I think they must have been maybe 10, 20, 30 seconds a little bit too late because they actually had to deal with 963 on
a
that
lot
bridge.
of third parties as well involved.
Because there was actually 963 who were in their place first. They came up behind them. Them and SNT crushed them and killed them. And then the fact that 46 Loot managed to stay alive for so long and get a few kills was really good for them. Unfortunately, SNT being able to swim under the bridge like they did really helped secure them a higher place.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's very true right now. And looking across the board, I think Light Pirates getting that 3rd place, it showed that, okay, last round, definitely a bit of a fluke. These guys are still in it to win it. Let's take a look at how it all started, though, because you can see Rodel, he was going in onto HeadHunterrs, and this was actually a pretty back-and-forth fight until Rush to Crush showed up.
Yeah, I really did think HeadHunterrs had a better chance here, but unfortunately they were crushed by Rush. And, I mean, it was a fair play from them. They actually played very well getting inside this building. But beyond this fight, they were really not anything noticeable from them.
Rush to Crush, man, that's why I call them a shark team. They smell the blood. They go in. No baby sharks either. They are fully grown adults. Now, JS, they got into a bit of a fight here with Rush to Crush, so really this team kind of involved in a lot of early action, and Arab Madness as well.
Yeah, this is a little bit unfortunate play from JS. They tried pushing up a little bit too aggressive, as we can see here. Butcher had the full advantage, took out JS with little ease.
Oh, this is great. Rush to Crush just come in the car, and then just get blown to smithereens. Obviously, this is never ideal, and Naster's just like, all right, see you later, noobs. But yeah, this was where the murder bridge really happened. And then Captain, he spotted out the KA member, nearly bought it as well. And LP were just lighting him up on the beaches.
Yeah, TRD going out in this position was really unfortunate. But when it comes to an island play, a lot of it is just a high amount of RNG luck. It does come down to whether you're able to get that sort of rotation on. And unfortunately, TRD were just late to the party. Their location didn't really allow them to be able to get an early sort of position and on here compared to that of S&T and LPI, who had that access to be able to rotate a little bit earlier. And LP went all the way around compared to S&T, who went for the aggressive play.
Yeah, I'm not going to hold anything against TRD on that one.
Yeah.
Obviously, we still saw the way they were playing seemed like it was good. It's just unfortunate that a lot of the teams had beat them to the punch already based on where they dropped. If that happens again, when we go to Erangel, I'll start to worry because that's a map that they're used to. That's a map that we've seen more of. That's where we've seen them adapt to a lot of more difficult circles than what we saw here. So for now, jury's still going to be out. They still got the chicken dinner. That's still a lot more points than they picked up yesterday. Now we will see. Here's where it came down, just the final 2 teams. And man, RBK holding the line.
Oh.
You talked about it. He was kitted up, but he was in it to win it. And we will take a look at SNT versus Kurd Squad. These were the number 2 and number 4 teams in
Look at the damage. That 2.3k is really good coming out from SNT. 1.4k from KS, not too bad, but it does go to show that they didn't manage to do as much damage. But for the kills they got, 1.4k
yeah, the
does
kills
make
are all
sense.
that counts, right? Like at the end of the day, you get a point for those, and of course the placement points. The knocks, the damage doesn't quite give it to you. Let's compare Lashin and Ebo though.
Ooh.
This is not a fair fight. Ebo is the standout performer on the Kurd Squad.
I mean, look at the distance actually. So this kind of just goes to show that S&T did have further to travel, but they did it a little bit earlier and they made it work to their advantage. But kills, it's not comparable. Moving onwards, let's have a look. Mustafa versus Ahmed. 2-1, not too bad. Damage, on the other hand, is pretty much like way over double.
Mustafa was getting
for
a lot of
Mustafa.
knocks. He just didn't get as many kills as he would have hoped for, and you can tell the difference in the distance. But that, again, is because of how much longer that S&T actually lived over the course of this match. Then you see Captain compared to Kraken. Kraken actually didn't load in on this one, so we've talked about him a little bit, but he wasn't even in that one for sure. It's Narcos versus Ari that we want to compare to. Narcos had a great game.
Yeah, I mean, getting those 4 kills is definitely going to do him justice. And he's a player that we have seen continually perform very well. Unfortunately, he did die a little bit earlier on because there was actually this snake in the grass or bush, which was Koro, who managed to take him down. But nonetheless, really good performance from both those teams. And it was really nice to see them compared to each other because they are on the same level, I'd have to say, with Kurd Squad. Actually,
overall, for sure.
Surprising me coming into this because S&T, you know what, actually, they were performing a lot better than Kurd Squad before this match, but Kurd Squad came in, surprised me happily, and although I did sort of make a meme with the fact that they were actually just an average team, I'm just trying to hype you guys up and, you know, poke the bear a little bit.
I think consider the bear very poked, man. Kurd Squad, you know, I keep talking about how they are the fan favorites, but they've definitely delivered. They were the 9th place team overall in the standings. They weren't actually the top team representing Iraq because that is the Light Pirates, but even though they got outlasted this time around, I think they were definitely one of the more flashy teams. And this is what we'd like to see out of them. Ebo's a great player. He's obviously not the only one. Ari coming in. I liked Golden Boy in the lineup this time around. That was a big thing. And, of course, if you're wondering where Golden Boy was, you can, of course, check out all of the roster information over at our website. It is clubopen.pubgmobile.com to see the full rosters, the full standings, up to date, as well as all the info on the teams around the world.
It's honestly like the website is built very well, and it's easy to be able to track all the data. And for me as a caster, it's really useful.
Now we use it for prep.
Yeah, I mean, as an observer, if you want to watch, you can not only look at the website, you can also look at the YouTube.
Yeah, that is, in fact, down at the bottom of the screen. It is youtube.com/PUBGMobileEsports. You can, of course, hit that subscription button and
Ding dong, that notification bell.
so you don't miss a minute of the action here at the PUBG Mobile Club Open. Looking forward to seeing how these teams do deliver on Erangel, but we got to go to a short break to cool it off. When we come back, more of the PUBG Mobile Club Open. Don't go anywhere.
Zombie, Darkest Night, the newest mode in the zombie universe, is here. This time, the rules are different. No more parachuting, as players will be placed at random locations on the map when the match begins, and there is no single winner. Players must work with their teammates to spend one long night in the match and stay alive until the sun comes up. Waves and waves of zombies will spawn during each of the 3 foggy periods at night, and supplies should only be scavenged when the fog fades. The main objective is not to defeat other players, though this doesn't mean they are harmless. Players may need to work with other teams when necessary, but should also watch their backs in case the Fragile Alliance goes south. This will be a unique experience for every player involved. This new mode also comes with a passive skill for every player. Understanding these skills will be the key to staying alive in this long night. Can you ride out the night?
Play PUBG Mobile for free.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, once again to the PUBG Mobile Club Open. We are down 2 maps. We had a spicy Vikendi. We had a fantastic island finish on Miramar. But wouldn't you know it, we're going back to the tried and true. It is Erangel coming up next. Tom, are you excited?
I definitely am. Devin, I am looking forward to this next game. Erangel, we finally get back onto it, TRD's home ground, and potentially savior, especially after that last game.
They need to definitely step it up. I mentioned I'm going to give them a little bit of a pass for that one just because of where the circle landed, but we can't afford to see, or TRD cannot afford to drop any further below because this is a far cry from their group stage performance where they were nigh untouchable. Dueling it out with 46 loot on the first map, I really love to see that. I want to see more of it on Erangel. I want to see them winning 4v4s and avoiding third parties, getting into the final zones like we know they can.
Definitely. I mean, it's what we have to see going forward. I mean, they can't just keep falling down like this, even when it's an island circle. We did give them a pass from that situation, but they should be able to deal with that. They should recognize what happens in this. And this is just something that they're going to have to improve on.
Here we go.
Let's have a look at the circle here. This is actually up to date as well.
Yep, S&T ruling the roost right now, having some great performances in their last 2 matches with a total of 127. You see SWAT 6-9. The other 6-9 SWAT going to be going down in second place. Of course, they've yet to play again. So we'll see the other teams that are kind of moving on up. It is LTK. Even though they didn't have great performances, still retaining that 3rd place position. But they got to watch out. TRD are hot at their backs, and this is where they get into that top 4 position. Executor in 5th, IQM 6th, and then even Rush to Crush, man. These guys are still picking up a lot of frag kills, which means they can still be in the 7th place position.
Yeah, and then MBZ able to hold on to this 8th place for now. I imagine by the end of the day, they will, after these 2 matches, they will be out of here because they haven't actually got any games today, so they're not going to be able to keep up. Tomorrow, we should see them again. But nonetheless, TRD somehow make it into the 4th place, but they have got 6 games played. What's more impressive is the fact that Team Rush to Crush, like you mentioned, are still here. And not too far behind IQM as well.
Yeah, it's a lot of frags, right? I mean, it doesn't make as much of a difference when you get into the very top where S&T are rocking 45. These guys are absolute frag gods. But let's take a look at 9th through 16th place. L&D, of course, still on the top of that one off of their performance of yesterday where we saw some chicken dinners. And then we look in iKurdTeam moving their way up into 11th place. Definitely not a bad look. And that's above where Kurd Squad are. Of course, they've only had 2 rounds. Give them some time. They will be moving up. They're only 2 points off of Nox, and I fully expect Kurd Squad to break into the top 8 by the end of today.
I mean, already having 56 points, I think this is actually better than what TRD had on their first day by far. So it's really impressive because, I mean, obviously TRD managed to get a bunch of kills on the first day, but they didn't get the placement points. They actually had 8, I think, at the end of it, which is pretty depressing when it comes to it. But nonetheless, pretty impressive stuff coming out from a couple of these teams. RBK in 14th place with only 2 games played. Moving into the next slot, the most disappointing for me is going to be LPI.
I think that's fair. We're definitely seeing kind of a little bit of mix and match around here for the last remaining players. And obviously like K Squad, for instance, only getting 5 points in total just off of placement, no frags. These guys have just been picked off time and again. Yep. You can say the same for 963. It's slightly better on the placement performance. Honestly, that last game was probably their best one. There's still time, but these are the teams that are going to be on the new bubble. Remember, after this, only the top 16 teams will survive and move in to the regional finals. Top 16 in the Middle East means that you'll be able to fight it out for that chance at that 1 spot in the global finals, and of course, a chance at that $2.5 million prize pool. But we are on to Erangel, and the planes coming in from the south all the way over Georgia Pool to the northwest.
And this is actually a plane we haven't seen before because it's coming over the top of Military Island, going all the way up towards the northeastern side? No, western side. What am I talking about?
Gotta mix your compass, man.
Yeah, gotta get one like drawn onto my hand or something.
I don't recommend it.
But they also have the opportunity to be able to drop down into Pachinki and also go a bit further, maybe over towards Yaz, Nea. But we are going to be seeing 3 different teams drop over towards Novi. Things are going to get spicy.
Yeah, I think so. We normally see 1 or 2 teams. It's usually a bit of a gentleman's agreement. One takes Novo, one takes Sosnovka. I don't know about this one right now. It's Rush to Crush, it's JS, and there's a third I can't quite see under there. AXT are dropping Fairy Pier. We've seen them do this before. This is actually one of their favorite spots, I think.
Yeah, I mean, they have done pretty well in this position, so it'll be interesting to see who does dominate here. Meanwhile, it's going to be Executors heading over towards, that's Primorsk. TRD still in the plane. Looks like they have actually just jumped, and they're heading over towards Ruins, which is not the best of places. Yeah, ideally, they won't stay there, and they drop over towards probably actually cubed and go over towards Severny or over towards Yasnaya.
I wonder if anyone's going to run for it for sure. We see a couple of Pachinki-bound teams, but I don't know if they'll stay there for long, and that is a very northern-based circle. So those teams that dropped Military Island, not going to be too happy about that.
And that's actually KS. Kurd Squad down in Novo joining those two other teams. So I think JS have spotted out what's happening, and they're going to be looting up the compounds outside of it, leaving these two teams fighting.
Look at Georgia Pool, man. North and South, there's going to be a lot of teams involved there and even making their way up into shooting range. We'll check back in with it in a minute. Honestly, the ones we want to keep our eyes on, once again, LPI, the Dancing Pirates, we've seen them do so well on this map, especially in regards to not finding the engages early, because it's a big map. You can avoid fights.
Yeah, and I mean, they did that last time as well in the last game on Miramar. They managed to get across, and they got their survival points and only 2 kills, which is a little bit lackluster. And those were actually the only kills across the whole of today. They've, across the 2 games, only got 2 kills. But moving in, we are going to be seeing a bit of a firefight coming out from Kurd Squad and R2C.
Another team we want to watch, of course.
Yeah, and I think we'll probably see a bit of a firefight coming out from them. And I just want to mention, I mean, this crate area is really dangerous to play. Ideally, these guys just loot up, avoid each other, and run away. Yeah,
I mean, we saw even in their prime, like, TRD had a lot of trouble on some crates. Now, that was, of course, on Georgia Pool, not so much on the Military Island, so we'll see what happens here. And speaking of teams that like to find isolated, nice, safe spots, it is going to be HeadHunterr, and they'll be much happier with the turn of events here on Erangel.
Yeah, it seems like they're not going to get challenged. I do want to check where TRD are at, because they did land over towards this side. Hopefully they have been listening to what I've been preaching over and over again. Get a vehicle and rotate. You don't have to loot wherever you land. That's actually not the ideal. You want to pick up a vehicle and get away from that plane path. If you get away, it means you can actually have a chance to survive a bit longer and then get the kills. Even if you're a frag-heavy team, you don't want to go out in 16th like we've seen a couple of teams do. Yeah,
not so much, and I think HeadHunterr is definitely mindful of that themselves, but they found a nice safe spot, so they will likely not be going out the last place again. And look at RBK. I think they might have only loaded in with 3 members again.
I think so, yeah.
It looks like, while they do have a nice safe spot here on Rostock, it's a little unfortunate that they have been down a man today. That makes that last chicken dinner even more impressive, though, for the RBK side. And we've seen them work some magic on Erangel, and this is what you like to see, Tom.
Yeah, so TRD have actually done exactly what I'm talking about. And this is the first time, I think, or maybe one of the first times we've actually seen the teams pick up the vehicles and then rotate and then loot. This is ideal. It means that they're a lot safer and they can loot. But you know what? Who isn't safe? Golden Boy. Unfortunately, Rush to Crush trying to turn the magic on.
Yeah, KS could be in a little bit of trouble here, and they've kind of got a tough team to face down in these crates, so we could see the crowd favorites going out early here as Nassar firing into Ahmed. Rest of Rush to Crush moving in. Tupac on the backside. Ari! He's so low, he gets dropped down. Man, this is a tough start.
I mean, it's 2 members standing, but Ivo might be able to turn his gun on.
Yeah, he's going to be able to find it, but Tupac turns around on Ivo as well, and this is just an absolute mess of a fight here for both sides, but Rush to Crush looking a little bit better.
They've got 2 members standing, 1 reviving as well.
LPI. I was wondering with the team that was facing off against TRD, this is not going to be favoring the Light Pirates very much.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see who can actually turn this in their favor. LP are actually the team that usually play in towards Severny, so they're probably feeling a little bit challenged and a little bit annoyed by TRD showing up in their territory, but they've got to fight to win it.
Ari's eliminated. I think Rush to Crush realized they've got the chance to take the fight here. Nassar a little bit low. He's going to move around. Golden Boy drop down. It's just going to be on to Ahmed, and that is going to be it. Kurd Squad eliminated in 16th place. It's disaster for the hometown heroes.
From the 4th place all the way down to the 16th place. That is not so good. Not what we want to be seeing from them, but nonetheless, we will be moving on to TRD, who will hopefully be performing better, but LBI definitely they actually need to perform better than TRD at this point.
That's a tough order for sure. We'll see if they do it or if maybe they can cover their escape, but you can look at Zero sniffing around the left side there, the flank, and if anybody tries to move, he could light them up. A couple of other teams really finding their way over to Pachinki. It's Arab Madness, it's 963, but this is a big town for the time being, so nobody needs to take on any unnecessary hostilities. This is the fight that we're going to see end first.
Yeah, and I mean, Severny's definitely a big town as well, but it does seem like they're going to be going in for the fights a little bit more aggressive than they should, and separately.
This town ain't big enough for the 2 of them. Tom is going to get dropped down by Kevin through the window. You see Hixiu taking up arms against Aras. Hama finished off as well, and I think this is just misfortune for the Light Pirates after a great round. Let's see if they can get some things done, though, because Hixiu is getting dropped down, bleeding out, and I don't think TRD expected that.
No, so they are going to be able to pick him up. I think one of the LPI members has actually driven away from that situation, which is the smartest choice. If they went out in 15th, I honestly, it would have a hard time for them to recover back into this.
Back shots. Looks like they will be able to find the finishing blow here, and that's the rest of the Light Pirates. As you mentioned, one more left up. No idea where they're at. And Aras.
I think they went over towards Stalba, which is an interesting situation for them. But we are actually going to be seeing the first firefight, I think, come out in Pachinki. It's been a bit slow to come to loot, but you know what? It is 963 versus AM. AM are usually a bit more aggressive on here, but I think they took a little bit of a chill pill. 963 took that time to loot up, and we might see that aggression coming through now.
Yeah, a little bit more relaxation. Okay, so things have settled down just a little bit. We'll see where everybody rotates now. Checking back in with Executor, we saw them driving away there. They had dropped by Ferry Pier, so they'll be heading up to the north. Pachinki continues to kind of be all quiet for the time being. Honestly, this next circle is probably going to tell quite a lot, Tom.
Yeah, and it's going to force a lot of teams closer together. And also, I think it's definitely going to be up towards that northern side where we're going to be seeing most of the teams having to rotate. And we've seen the situations like this before where the water really causes issues for teams. And so what's actually quite interesting is JS are looking to camp up here and wait for like sort of a rush to cross over and fall into the honey trap.
Yeah, that might be a little bit rough for whoever makes it through there. Rush to crush. We'll have to turn north sooner or later. It looks like there is a firefight breaking out on Pachinki here. As Basile is going to get dropped down by Quiet. B52 turns on Lorans, and this is it. Arab Madness, they're just such a better team at going for the breach, going for the fights, and yet again, we see 963 really unable to do anything.
That was one man. B52 just took out 3 people.
Yeah, and Aboud's just watching on the other building.
He took 20 points of damage. That is impressive.
I honestly think 963 should really check their guns because they don't seem to really have a whole lot of accuracy. Maybe they're jamming. Maybe
they're firing blanks. Something they should go check with their doctor about. But nonetheless, moving over towards North George, we are going to be seeing IK here trying to take it on and loot up into these apartments to keeping their distance away from Headhunters, which, you know what, I'm happy for. Both those team members, as long as they avoid each other, will be good. But KA right next to TRD.
Yeah, just going to be able to pop away in that boat. Now, this is the last remaining member of 963, so a couple of teams have already been reduced to just one player here. Tupac getting gunned down by the JS members, and this is what you're talking about, that bridge guard. I wish we could switch over to that perspective right now. Here we go.
Hey.
Rush to crush. They are just caught in the honey trap. Oh. However, it looks like Damu is the honey badger because he just do not care. SWAT going to try and turn around here. JS, another team, not as great in a straight-up 4v4 firefight, but we'll see who comes alive at the end of this one.
Well, he's got his backpack. I don't know about the Batmobile, but let's see if he can fly in here and scoop up the final kill.
Okay, here we go. That's going to be the end of it for Rush to Crush, out in 15th place. And,
ouch.
Well, that's what happens when you drop onto a choke.
4 points they get. And that is going to be the big boy gun, the AWM.
One of our most famous, or infamous, if you will, guns. As we'll see where the next circle closes in. Stay into the north. People in Rozhok, you're safe for now. Shooting range, Severny, you're all in a good spot, but everybody else, you better come north.
Do they, though? There is actually a small chance, thanks to the way the circle works. It needs a certain amount of land, and there are a couple of points on the southern side. So if the circle decides to shift hard south every single time, we might actually see that happen, and the circle land further south side of that. But otherwise, it'd be interesting to see a Severny end, which is quite a good fun match to watch. It's an urban area.
Yeah, we've seen a couple of those for sure. I prefer Pachinki just because it's so big, but no, you're right. Severny's pretty good. Ooh, Aboud getting dropped down finally. He was being a thorn in the side of the B-52 members, but he only managed to get a knock onto Quiet, and that's going to be the end of him. So 963, once again, they go out this time in 14th place.
Yeah, so we are finally going to see the shots coming out between Headhunters and IK. And which of the teams do you think?
I actually think this is, I mean, okay, so on paper, IK. However, I think Headhunters, they have managed to perform a decent bit when up against teams that aren't leaps and bounds ahead of them in terms of fragging power. Now, despite the fact that the BAPE does get some shots taken there, I actually think that this is somewhat even.
I would actually think they'd both be better off just walking away from this, but I think Headhunters have, like we mentioned, a bit of a tunnel vision issue, so I think this is going to be sort of them proving if they still have that issue or not. But they are on either side of IK, so they do have that advantage, but IK are spread out in 2 different areas, so we'll see. This is actually on top of Stalba. So it's actually a place that we haven't really seen too much of throughout this competition, but KA are going to be making the best of this, and they're going to loot up there, and IK in the meantime running for the hills.
Yep, looks like they're the ones that backed away. So things have settled down just a little bit, and this does kind of seem to be the name of the game here in the Middle Eastern region for the PMCO. We've compared some of the different metas, some of the different styles. There's always a couple of firefights, and 3 or 4 teams get dropped early on in some of these maps because a few teams do actually enjoy those hot drops. And then once the dust has settled, everyone's like, that's fine. We'll just chill till the circle closes down, and then all of a sudden, start flexing those muscles, take the firefights out, and see what you can do.
IQM. Together once again. Unfortunately, I think that's not a very good idea. We've actually seen the meta of hiding separately work out better for them. And I
Yeah,
think
it's
he
such a
has the
weird
AWM. I wasn't quite sure. I could only see from the silhouette.
They're in a good spot, though. They're on school right now.
Yeah, I mean,
school apartments, rather.
Yeah, it's a really good spot if it does hard shift over towards that side. But we'll have to see what ends up happening in the next circle. We've still got about a minute or so until the circle's finished closing. I think at JS, the killers of Russia Crush have finally started to make their way into the circle.
Yeah, but they were a little bit wounded here. I want to see how many players of them are actually up and available. AXT going to be driving a long way through AM. They just cruise past school. So IQM don't give their position away. It's another one of those teams that does seem to be somewhat conflict avoidant, if you will.
They're very much quiet until faced. It's like if you trap them in the corner, they'll screw with you. And that's like Badgers. Badgers are very much the same in real life. So they kind of remind me of a
experience
Badger.
with Badgers.
I mean, I'm British. We have a lot of history of like Badgers.
Fair enough.
But
I just know it's the crest of House Hufflepuff.
well,
Made it sound like it was a Game of Thrones thing there.
Okay, he doesn't have an AWM, but he has got the M24, which is a slightly upgraded version of the Kar 98. Higher velocity and a little bit higher firepower and damage. But the damage isn't as high as it used to be. You used to be able to do a lot more damage, but then when it switched from just care package to normal loot, they nerfed it a little bit so it could fit into the meta a little bit better.
Yeah, okay. I want to go back to my earlier point about JS because I thought they might have players that were a little bit lower on health, but they did manage to get some full loot up, which means they can full heal themselves. So you do see their back up to full health. Good spot for them as they'll take up that spot to the west. Oh, school, and whoa, that new circle.
That's a hard shift.
LTK are just like, yeah, come to us, everybody. That is a very hard shift, very towards the north. Severny had already been abandoned by TRD, and now they're going to have to turn right around.
They're like, come on. What's going on here? But you know what? TRD, that was a bad call shifting over there. It was quite unlikely that it was going to go over there. They would have been better off taking Crossroads, which is just below Severny, in the sort of compounds just below it. That's actually quite an interesting place for people to be able to take because there's a lot of rotations through that area, and it sort of centers them in the sort of landmass of the northern circle, the northern side of the island.
Yeah, it feels weird. Like, I don't think we've seen TRD really be, like, indecisive in that regard. Like, they've usually been pretty confident in their own positioning. Like, what does that tell you about their play right now?
I think they're a little bit worried. The fact that what happened in the last game, even though they're like, yeah, it's a bloody island circle. Even then, in the back of their heads, they take into consideration that yesterday they really messed up, and then going into today, they've had to prove a lot. First game they did it, but then they've not really been able to prove it since then. They did obviously win the fight against LPI, but they weren't even able to finish all of them up. All
right, 46 Luke going to be facing down against the likes of LTK, who've had a very quiet day themselves, but now things are starting to warm up a little bit here over by school, looks like. Or Severny, excuse me. And 46 Loot have definitely lived up to their expectations set on the final day of play for the group stages. But LTK, they really only came alive yesterday. And I want to see them bring that back again because it's been a couple of rounds where we haven't really seen that much out of them, to be honest.
Yeah, they've got a lot to prove, I think, as a team. They did obviously get quite a few points yesterday, but you know what? 46 Loot are looking to challenge them on here. Evil has been knocked, and he was crossing over the... that's just too easy. Zekro was just like, you're trying to run in the open? I'm going to take you down.
Yeah. No smoke, no cover. I mean, that's a rookie mistake right there.
Yeah. And, I mean, LTK are spread out all across each other. They can't pick each other in that situation up. IQM,
Red Garden, and there's nowhere for them to go. IQM getting lit! And that's just going to be everybody down on their knees. Mustafa, Wolf, it's easy cleanup for Arab Madness.
So luckily that was only 2 players.
Yeah, they have. This is why they split, by the way, because they always die.
And they went across to the different bridge. This is ideally what you want to be doing in this situation, or you want to have a scout going ahead and checking it out. IK, though, trying to take some shots and trying to get some frags.
Oh, Headhunters, man. They're managing to get away by the skin of the teeth right there. Very close call. Dr. Savage does get knocked by Kramek, and meanwhile, it's starting to heat up here as the JS side are going to be finding Slom from LTK. Should be able to finish him off here as Rawan taking open shots onto Dr. Savage, gets the finishing blow, and it's just carnage across the way.
And we do have, I think, Executors coming in very soon, maybe coming into
that's
third or
SMT
fourth
lighting
party.
up.
Ooh.
I wish we could switch to that perspective really quick. It looks like KA are on the verge of getting eliminated yet again, this time by the S&T side, but we will check back in with TRD.
So this is actually a decent position for them, but the next circle should cut it out, like I said, and it is going to be a Severny ending or out in the field, so TRD need to move down. There's a bit of an encampment and also a few different sort of ridges they can play on, but they need to move right now before AM get there before them.
Yeah, not to mention RBK here, who've been kind of waiting out in the wings. We'll see who ends up making it into that final circle on Severny. Couple teams still playing split. You can see on the bottom of the map, Purge and Tomb. They're going to be the ones camping out along the edge of the circle. Looks like one of the Light Pirates members, as you mentioned, it was Koro, who actually managed to stay alive. One of the teams got dropped while we were all talking. I think that was KA.
I think it was. I mean, they've had a little bit of a disappointing reaction to some of the combat they've been in.
Yep.
So not being able to sort of actually carry themselves into the next round very well. Nonetheless, though, AM have taken purchase in part of Severny.
North side, too.
Yeah, and it's actually the better position to be in because the next circle will probably shift away from the urban area
Play
towards
some
the
kills,
fields.
Purge. He was way too far away, so it's down to Tomb to try and carry. We've seen it happen from IQM before, though.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. AM have actually managed to meet up together.
Ooh. JS going to come under fire
good.
from 46 Loot on the other side of town. Meanwhile, near the water, near the cliffside, we're going to be seeing SNT potentially going up against IK.
Yeah, they back away from that one. So this is kind of a tense moment where a lot of the teams are sizing each other up as far away as they dare.
Yeah, so we're going to be seeing IK going along the beach here. This is actually quite an interesting play because they will have a ridgeline along the beach that actually helps defend them from the Severny teams. It's still a very, very weak position because you're unable to breach properly.
S&T, speaking of breaching, they've kind of joined this fight, and we'll take a look at the players still alive in this. IQM have 1, Light Pirates have 1, HeadHunterr on 2, LTK on 2, and it looks like it's going to be dropping. 46 Loot, headshot onto Zico from Narcos. S&T have joined the fray, and it looks like Azim, he's near to dropping. However, Captain does get knocked as well. Good defense point, though, from 46 Loot. These guys have just leveled up so much over the group stages.
Yeah, I mean, the pressure's going to be on them. If they can take out S&T, I'd be so impressed by them.
That would honestly be a big signal to the rest of the teams not to mess with us right now. However, the breach coming through. Mustafa looking to aim that nade just through the window. It looks like he's able to get it there as Last Shin had already found Moomin. And he should be able to res his teammates up. That's close, though. He can't quite get behind the car.
Yeah, so that might have actually screwed them over, but there's going to be another nade going out, knocking out another.
Still looks like Koro managing to find the BAP from HeadHunterrs.
I mean,
finishing him off. That's going to be 12th place position. So, Koro, he's also found Nightmare. He found everybody on the HeadHunter side.
And somehow these guys are on fire, but still alive and recovering here. But I think it's going to be down to what, maybe a Loosh?
I think it is just a Loosh. It's unfortunate. I think there was really nowhere for him to go because JS was waiting in the wings on the opposite side. And this is what we mean when we say how dominant S&T are, going in for the plays, making the breaches happen. We're down to 10 teams, just under 30 alive.
That's actually really impressive. The fact that they managed to recover from that situation is just a call to arms as to how they actually play so well. I want to see where TRD are because they were starting to rotate and we moved away from the map view, and they're potentially going to follow up towards AM. AM actually went hardcore into the Severny. TRD, I want to see them outside of the town.
Yeah, look at the Loosh. He's actually moved into the house adjacent right now. Let's see if he can hold on for the rest of his team. And I think TRD are incoming. That's IK off the outside, excuse me.
Yeah, although number 14, I don't think that is TRD. I think TRD should be out in the field.
Yeah, they are.
They are.
Oh, if this hard shifts.
It should do.
This is a huge gambit. Let's see if it pays off.
So one of the
No, it doesn't.
That's unfortunate.
Okay, S&T in a pretty good position to try and defend their location as well. Firing down, raining bullets on the IK members who are just no match for this dominating squad. Even LTK joining in the carnage, and I think this is going to be very shortly IK out in 9th position. They're not dropped just yet, though.
Yeah, they still have one member alive. He's actually on the beach.
They're going for the water.
So they have actually got the water circle here, and this is going to help them. I mean, I talked about the beach having a ridgeline. This is what I'm talking about.
A lot of soft cover.
Yeah, and I mean, this is actually a big opportunity for them to be able to take the higher position. Because as soon as they go into 8th position, that's where the points really start counting, and they can make purchase of that. Executors still alive. We've not really seen too much action from them, but they are down a member.
They got into an early fight, and that's where Demon got dropped. And I think they decided to adopt a much more pacifistic approach, and things have kind of changed a little bit. Here's TRD. We were wondering where they were, and it looks like it's LTK's last member, 9-9. That's caught between a lot of these remaining squads.
I mean, he's caught between AM and TRD.
Not a good place to be.
Fortunately for him, I think the nades are going to be coming. That one missed. Oh.
Landed 2nd floor. Oh, man. I think this is the easiest breach of Kevin's life, if he decides to take it.
I don't think he does, because he didn't get the knock, and he doesn't want to play too dangerously, because he doesn't know how many people are inside that building.
That's a fair point. JS managing to stay alive for a little bit longer, and that will be 0 finishing off of LTK, which means they will drop down in the 9th place position. So LTK, we wanted to see more from them, not quite delivering just yet, but they have had a little bit of a better performance there. JS fired down heavily, rained by everybody, and they can't quite blow the car. That's surprising here. Atez does get dropped. That's 1. Hackshot will be able to finish the job.
TRD now have to shift on over to Assist Church, trying to get a better position.
AM, they're still in this. They make people aware of their presence for sure. 7 kills on this team. They really have stepped it up on Erangel today.
This is their time to shine, and Executors in the meantime having to take on IK.
On the beachhead, looking for IK, the last 2 members, Kramek and Kawan trying to hold tight here, but meanwhile the fight is still happening inside the city of Severny.
Circle's going to be closing in, but so are TRD on AM's backside, and AM are going to be crushed between 2 teams momentarily if JS can recover.
Looks like Clown got knocked, so Rodel, as the smokes are down, should look to try and res his team.
He was actually just quite low in health, so he's actually still up at this point. So is Swat at that point. IK.
It's just 2 fights on H mode, gonna get naded there by B52. We didn't even talk about RBK, the winners of the last round.
IK gonna drown. Kramek, I think, might just drown himself.
Yeah, I mean, not give the points to the opposition if you know all is lost.
He's managed to take in one more quick breath, but I think that may well be one of his last, and a lot of those stains, he might be close to the edge here, so we'll see.
Down again. He's got almost no health, you're right, but he's just laying on the beach. Oh, he's healed back up. Okay.
And he dropped a smoke off as well, so it's going to help him for a little bit, but unfortunately if he sits center, they're just going to spray into it and take him out. SNT at the moment, though, looking to take on the opposition. I'm not quite sure who that is. I think it is actually AM they're fighting.
Yeah, trying for it. There's still a couple of teams really in the mix that have lost most of their members. Alucia's managed to stay alive through this all, but he could be in trouble because I think S&T are keen to finish what they started.
But he's made it into 8th place minimum, so that's fantastic for him, and I think he'll probably end up staying for a little bit longer.
Oh, here comes AXT into the house of JS, and SWAT just sprays around trying to use his cover. He manages to get the knockdown onto Rodel while his teammates look on here, goes for the finishing blow. Mehmet does get dropped by RBK's teammate.
That was such a dangerous play to do, going out for that shot, especially when your teammate's down.
It's not the first time we've seen them go full Leroy Jenkins. Unfortunately, it looks like Clown's going to follow him into the abyss right now. B52 just taking shots, should get the finisher onto Clown, and he does manage it. And that's just going to be Lord for AXT.
This is actually going to be an opportunity for TRD to be able to open up their nades, but the circle favors TRD heavily. They've got the versatility on the height and also the lower ground. They've got a wall around their compound they're in, and they're the only team there. But look at this. Nade coming out from TRD, dropping that nade down and knocking out B52. TRD returning.
That is insane. They really are the real deal right now, trying to make even more of it. They just need to finish it off and knock AM out as well. Or at least, excuse me, the rest of the AM members. There's Butcher still on the top on the opposite side, quiet as well. But this is going to be the breach coming in from the TRD side. Nobody on looking here as Molotov gets put 6 feet under.
I mean, at this point, AM are down to 2 members, which is still fine. And IK still crawling, and we're actually down to 7 teams. So that was Executors who went out in 8th place. That was an interesting situation there. Lone
snake in the grass for IK. It looks like Kevin will take up the spot on the top of this one. TRD moving forward into the remainder of the circle teams. Will need to come to them. I cannot believe Alucia's still alive in all of this. He is just sitting there as quiet as he can.
I mean, this is what we want to see from them, even if it is just this consistent play. It's very much mirrored of what LPI would usually play like. As I say that, Captain does find him, and he goes out in 7th place. So 46 Loot doing a good job of being able to survive, but IK going to be able to outlive him.
That's Kramek,
minimum of 6th place.
Good job for IK to really stay alive through some real rough collapses other teams have put on them right now. So let's take stock of who all is left in this. AM still have a handful of members, but they're severely weakened. SNT and TRD are the 2 real threats remaining. JS have a few, RBK have 2, and then there's the 1 IK member still alive.
Yes, SNT, if I'm right in saying, should have 4. TRD with the 4 as well, so they're definitely the strongest ones here. JS in a decent position, but they're low on supplies, I think.
They're also, I think, outgunned a little bit here, and I don't just mean in technical terms. I just think that JS, when it comes down to these final firefights, they don't have the same power level, so I want to see if they can really level it up. Kramek going for a run here, but unfortunately, he gets spotted out by AM, and that's down to 5.
Nice try. I'll give him that. But unfortunately for AM, even though they get that kill, it does gain them in position, but they're now known, and Quiet is going to get knocked by Narcos, and this could be the downfall of AM.
Yeah, Kevin has his sights set on the RBK members as well. And to give them another chicken dinner.
Unfortunately, he might have done to him what was done to B52 on the rooftop with Molotov, and he might get naded here by RBK.
Well, let's see what happens. If the prediction comes true. JS, you know, they have managed to survive quite a long time in this urban area, so I am definitely impressed considering we usually see them knocked in a lot of these fights earlier on. S&T throwing down the smokes, and they're going to go for the breach here with Narcos and Mustafa on the front. You can see Captain wrapping around the right side.
So we're going to be seeing TRD versus these guys momentarily. There's actually a package on top of that roof that I don't think anyone will end up getting.
That is a very dangerous package. Let's not go for that. No one wants to sign for it.
It does give you protection against people, and you can peek through
in one direction. Technically, if it's S&T that picks it up, they're probably in the best position to do it because there's no one behind them.
But to get inside that building.
Oh, that's the nade onto Hackshot from Captain. So it was the other nade, the unseen nade, that maybe we should have been more worried about.
It was a nade either way. But they are going to be able to pick him up, but they're going to be slightly damaged here. And now S&T's time to shine. If they win this game, they're just securing their position on the leaderboard right now. I think they had, what, 127 points, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, they were up there.
That was really impressive by them. And then this play as well. They're trying to get another nade in there. Does a bit of damage, but doesn't quite knock someone.
They're going to have to move into AM's territory right now. And even though it's a 4v2, the defender's advantage should be strong there for AM. I can't believe it right down in one of these final circuits. But this is what happens when you get the urban areas here. RBK not moving from the spot. Kevin trying to flush them out.
It's a flashbang.
Yeah.
He's so confused. He peeks out. He goes back in. He's like, what's going on? I'm completely blind. I can't see anything. I love that. I love the flashbangs.
It is a nice little debate.
Because you hear the bounce and you're like, oh no.
He could have scoped up a little earlier than that, though.
He
I mean, I'm kind of nitpicking a little bit on Kevin, but I think we could have seen him do that and then just take the few shots when he peeked out.
Yeah, I think Hitchu or the maybe Zero would have done that. Maybe Hackshot as well, but Kevin definitely seems like the weaker guy out of them as we go further forward.
15 players alive still, representing 5 teams. This is circle shrinks down. This is one of the longest games we've had.
And AM actually have 10 kills. That's pretty impressive. I think they're along the same lines as S&T, because I think S&T have quite a few kills. JS should have a fair few as well. TRD, I think, had 6 last time I saw. They might have a couple more on that as well. So this is actually a really decent area, and a lot of decent players coming in here. Molotov coming out, though, from S&T.
Inside the house, Butcher and Quiet are going to have to move pretty quickly. It looks like they actually managed to stay safe for the time being, and S&T really want that house. They're going to be making moves for it right now, but they got to be careful. Mustafa, bullets flying just over his head. Here comes the breach.
This is
downstairs.
Such a clever play coming out from S&T, the free fire.
Yeah, but meanwhile, they're not going to get away with it solo here. JS is even getting in the mix, and Quiet, he does get capped. Unfortunately, he's down on his hands and knees and eliminated now. It's going to be one remaining member of AM.
Grenade it, guys. Grenade it.
He's out there before he can even get a single knock, so AM knocked out in 5th place.
One of the members from RBK has been knocked by Hixu as well. One member staying alive. RJS going to be able to outlive RBK.
I can't believe it. They might just be able to do it. They've been taking the much more passive route as RBK have been trying to reposition a little safer here. Down to a single player. Hixu getting the finishing blow, and it looks like Hixu will be able to eliminate them. JS, meanwhile, taking down Mustafa, at least knocking him to his knees.
And this is going to be down to potentially 2 squads of 4. This is impressive. I think this is going to be the first time we might see a 4v4 in the end.
And you couldn't ask for a better 4v4 here. The way S&T are playing and TRD resurging, JS have nowhere to go. They're going to have to jump into the blue.
I think so. They might be able to jump out through that window. I'm not quite sure, but we'll see. Kevin take some more shots as well, trying to knock down these guys. Zero
is isolated right now, so it could be a little rough. He's going to have to run through the smoke here. 69, see him. If S&T can get those shots, JS, honestly, all they can really do right now is try to play spoiler because they will not outlive unless they can run through it.
Kevin, Zero's actually in a very clever spot. He's actually in a spoiler spot for these guys. As soon as they jump over,
Captain. Oh, boy.
They should see each other here.
Zero, waiting, turns around the side, looking for the pre-fire, getting the knockdown. He does take some damage, has to pop his first aid kit, but that is an advantage for TRD. JS, they're not moving from their spot.
That was really clever. JS are going to get hit by the blue momentarily.
They're just trying to take some frags right now. So S&T fired on, third party from JS in their final moments.
This is TRD's game to lose. If they don't get this, I'll be very surprised. Hackshot helping out his teammate, chucking in another smoke.
No one can see a damn thing here, and Narcos is going to get taken out by TRD. This is going to be their round to win. Hackshot, JS making a run for it, trying. It looks like Zero is going to be the big hero for sure. And this is going to be it. TRD are the real deal.
What an insane play coming out from there. Zero picking up a massive 7-kill advantage. That is 14 kills in total. That is a total of 44 points. That's something else.
That is huge right now. TRD, this is exactly the remedy to fix the blues from yesterday, getting themselves a double chicken dinner. Wipe the Miramar performance off the board. I think that definitely was a blip on the radar. I cannot wait to see Erangel 2 with this team.
Yeah, I'm so happy that they were able to play like that. And Zero being able to push like that, you sort of said he was in a bit of disadvantage, but what was really happening, he actually made it across into a spoiler position behind the wall. Captain pushed up. Smoke went out, they both pushed, he got the advantage, healed up, and then he took out the rest of S&T by himself.
Yeah, that was some sick play, man. And honestly, I think S&T, you could say that because they had the position that JS could see compared to TRD, that definitely hurt them a little bit.
Yeah.
But all the same, that was the turning point for the end of this game. And it all began here with a couple of crazy crate fights, a couple of teams eliminating each other. Who'd have thunk they would have returned to the scene of the crime? Of course, this was over at the northwest side of Severny.
So they rotated it away and had to come all the way back to the same spot.
Who says you can't come home again?
So yeah, so it's all about that home play, so we'll have to see how they recover into the next game, but still a fantastic play coming out. And then you have a look at AM. They played really well as well. I think they must have got at least, I think, minimum of 10 kills.
They at least had 10 kills when before we saw the last 2 of them get knocked out. It was just unfortunate that they caught the eye of SNT. Here's a bit more of that play. I love this. This was just AM. This is where they picked up a couple of those because they knew someone had to come through, and unfortunately it was IQM. LTK kind of getting gunned down there. JS, I want to give them some serious props. They ended up in 2nd place at the end of the day. This is some of their best frag performance we've seen.
Yeah, and it was all thanks to that passive play at the end, but they also had a lot of aggressive play as well, so it wasn't just a one-trick pony. They played multiple angles alongside. Look at SNT. They managed to crash into this compound on Severny. They took over it pretty much. They have to be probably one of my MVP teams of the game so far because they didn't just sit around. They crashed into the compound and took the fight to teams like JS and AM. Unfortunately, JS they didn't take out, but talking about JS, they did a fantastic job here at defending their building.
Yeah, I think when you talk about Severny and who really ruled the roost
no.
B52, what a beautiful shot that was to try and turn things around. But honestly, the Kings of Severny have to be the real deal. Here's that play you're talking about, Zero around the side.
He plays insane. So he gets his first knock on towards Captain. He returns hills and also Hackshot chucks out a nade to him, turns around, looks to finish off JS. And it was just a well play coming out from TRD.
Yeah, beautiful stuff there. We will take a look at the real deal and Just Survive. These were our number 1 and number 2. And you can see the difference in caliber between these teams. Nothing against Just Survive, but 14 kills, 2,300 damage.
Yeah, I mean, this just shows the efficiency here. Well, actually, no, it doesn't. But, I mean, double kills was pretty impressive.
It shows insanity in terms of the damage, right?
And a nice clean 2.3k. I think that's actually the first time we've seen like such a clean number coming out from a total team. But Hackshot versus Mehmet here. And it's actually going to be Mehmet outperforming here. Close distance, but distance doesn't really matter on here.
Yeah, I don't think we'll see this go that way in a lot of the other matchups.
No.
Hackshot, he had a couple of good kills at the end there, but it wasn't quite enough to cover what some of his teammates did.
Yeah, he was more of a utility player. He was trucking out a lot of the smokes, which is a fair play. And it's actually the reason why they were able to play like they did. Because they were able to keep out SNT, which was their biggest issue. JS were also an issue, but not as much. Moving onwards, we do see Kevin and Rip. And to be honest, I thought Kevin did a little bit better, but unfortunately, it seems like he did a lot of knocks, but not finishes.
Yeah, no, he was definitely another kind of a backup player, so we'll see some of the main players coming through as well. But Rip, I think he actually was the one that died early on, so kind of ironic given the name. But he did cover a lot of distance, so we'll see how that all goes down. Here is Zero. This was the man that stepped it up in the clutch. As you mentioned, he moved into the smoke solo and made the plays.
He almost got a 1-to-1 sort of ratio on his kill to damage ratio. I mean, it's 100 health on each player, and he got 767 damage. Very impressive. And then we move on to Tess, who is also a very good player. I have to give him props.
More damage than Hixu, actually, but Hixu got double the kills, and that's because Hixu was the one who was taking those far-away shots. He also had RBK kind of locked up, lock and key for a little while. And this was the impressive thing, is that TRD, we always talk about them not necessarily having a single clutch player. They all, on a given moment, can kind of step up and play. We saw the numbers as they went there, but I think all of them as a 4-man squad delivered not just once, but twice today. The second game on Miramar notwithstanding, we saw them play decent. It was just the positioning that they couldn't quite keep up with, other teams beating them to the punch on the island circle. I think TRD are back, man. I
really do think that they are. They've actually warmed up. They accidentally used yesterday as a practice game, or practice series, rather.
Just giving the other teams a little bit of a head start, right? And they'll be able to catch up.
I think that's a pretty dangerous game, though, because we have got S&T, who have got to be one of the...
hot on their heels.
They've been coming in hard, and they are not looking to slow down. The fantastic performance over the last couple of days. Really interesting performance, and also plays. They've played very aggressive. They've also played passive, but they've got a bunch of kills, and if you want to find that information...
Yeah, where all the kills happened, and of course all the standings you can find over at our website at clubopen.pubgmobile.com. Make sure you go over there to find all the info on the teams, and of course all the teams playing in all around the world in the PUBG Mobile Club Open. So not just the ME region, but we've had a whole heaping helping of excitement.
Yeah, I mean, there's also obviously the NA region that are playing, and they've got a bunch of highlights, and so have we. Where else can we watch them?
Oh, easy peasy. Just go over to youtube.com/PUBGMobileEsports. Make sure you smack that subscription button and...
ding dong that notification bell.
You will not want to miss a minute of the action as it goes, man. And it's been such an absolute pleasure here. We have got one more Erangel map up next, and I have no idea what's going to go down, but I think teams better be watching for TRD, and you guys better be watching too. We'll be right back with more of the PUBG Mobile Club Open.
Zombie, Darkest Night. The newest mode in the zombie universe is here. This time, the rules are different. No more parachuting, as players will be placed at random locations on the map when the match begins, and there is no single winner. Players must work with their teammates to spend one long night in the match and stay alive until the sun comes up. Waves and waves of zombies will spawn during each of the 3 foggy periods at night, and supplies should only be scavenged when the fog fades. The main objective is not to defeat other players, though this doesn't mean they are harmless. Players may need to work with other teams when necessary, but should also watch their backs in case the Fragile Alliance goes south. This will be a unique experience for every player involved. This new mode also comes with a passive skill for every player. Understanding the skills will be the key to staying alive in this long night. Can you ride out the night?
Play PUBG Mobile for free.
Welcome back, everybody, once again to the PUBG Mobile Club Open. It is day 2 of the semifinals here for the ME region, and boy, has it been a spicy affair, Tom. 3 maps down, 1 more Erangel to go.
I am so excited. And obviously, guys, if you haven't already, make sure to go follow Devin on his Twitter, which you can find down here.
And follow Tom as well. He is We Free Men YT.
Yeah.
So your eyes do not deceive.
Or just search We Free Men. I'll be the only one to come up because I'm the only one important with that
But
name.
aren't you multiple free men?
Yeah, I'm plural, so I'm everywhere, you know? Got to give it
There's
there,
the
but
plurality of Tom.
you know what? TRD. We have to talk about them here.
Oh, boy.
I mentioned at the end of before the break, S&T have been performing fantastically. TRD weren't, though. But today, 2 chicken dinners, loads of points, 139 points, but still behind SNT.
They're so close, though. I mean, the points maybe not making the biggest of difference at the moment, but in terms of the frags and the kills, TRD are coming up hot, and I really think after this next match, we might just see a shift in the standings. S&T look fantastic. LTK kind of holding on to a lot of their points from yesterday, but they've dropped all the way down into 3rd. And then we see teams like Executor, even though they had a few oopsies there on the beach, they came up into the 5th place position. IK tied with IQM for 6th place.
Just to jump backwards, TRD have so far found 80 points in placement today.
Yeah, because they only had 8 at the beginning and like 0 frags. What the hell, man? This team is terrifying.
That is insane. But nonetheless, like you said, let's have a look at these. A few other teams like AXT going to be in that 5th position. Then we have IQM somehow still holding on to the 7th position. And also Team Rush to Crash, who have dropped down to 8th spot here. Interesting. And IK.
Yeah.
Up in 6th.
Yeah, they're doing pretty well, things considered. I think a lot of those teams a little closer to the bottom are just good at surviving a little longer. Rush to Crush, it's interesting for me. However, I think when the other teams start playing, when we see more of Group B coming back tomorrow, we'll probably see teams supplanting them a little bit more because Rush to Crush, they're picking up frag points, but they're kind of going back to their YOLOing ways, and it's not really suiting them. RBK bringing up the rear here in 9th place, but that's not bad considering especially how they were able to play getting that chicken dinner out on Miramar.
Yeah, I mean, they've only got 3 matches here, so they're played pretty decently, and they've had a few interesting situations where they've been able to recover. Some of them they haven't, but let's see how they do into this next one. Meanwhile, moving further down the list, I mean, if you have a look at AM, they actually had a really good game last time, but it just seems they're still lagging behind. Placement points in the first couple of games were just not there. Last game they managed to get, I think, what, 4th position?
Yeah, give them some time, right? They've only had three rounds. I think we'll see a little bit more of this team. We'll see. Kurd Squad were the ones that they dropped out in 16th place on this time, and that's why we see them down in 15th right now. We wanted to see more out of the crowd favorites. I think they've definitely got it in them, but currently they're tied with 46 Loot, who honestly have been delivering.
Yeah, and I mean, and the fact that they've actually made it into sort of joint 15th spot is actually pretty impressive, considering there is still another 8 teams here who have all played games already, and yeah, I mean, it's pretty interesting. I mean, obviously, it's a bit unfortunate 963 there at the bottom.
And KA Squad, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, this is kind of to be expected. KA Squad maybe has fallen down a little bit further from the group stages, but this is exactly where 963 were in the groups. We just didn't see them getting a lot done and always getting mowed over by other squads.
I do hope they do sort of pick it up here, but they are definitely a team that I expected to not do great.
Speaking of picking it up, though, man, Light Pirates in 21st, that's where you start sounding the alarm bells, because I'd like to see more out of these guys. Ever since Miramar, we haven't seen much, and there's one more Erangel to go, and maybe we'll see some dance parties happening.
Yeah, unfortunately for them, I think they're going to try and leave it like they did last time until the very last moment, but I don't think that's going to work very well in the semifinals because there's only 16 spots. They're currently in the bubble. They're playing with fire.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. I mean, there's still one more round to go, and definitely Light Pirates disappointed a little bit more than they have shown their true colors in today's matches, but there's still plenty more for them to play. I'm loving what I'm seeing out of TRD. I'm loving what I'm seeing at S&T. I honestly hope we have another Urban Circle and give me another Severny or maybe a Pachinki, and we will see SNT and TRD going at it. Maybe uninterrupted this time because there were a lot of third parties. JS really coming up out of nowhere.
Yeah, I mean, what I'd really like to be able to see is actually a mansion finish. It's quite an interesting compound to play around.
You have my attention.
Because what happens within mansion, you actually have a square box like this. It has a fence going around. There's a few entrances, but otherwise it's blocked off, and you have to go through one of those entrances. So if there's teams that get inside the middle in the buildings inside mansion, they can block off the exits, and it means that if it lands in there, it's really difficult to play with, and you have to try and smoke your way in. And it's just a mess, and it's good fun.
Well, we'll see what happens going forward. We still have a little bit more before we get into this one. So, any other big surprises outside the teams we've mentioned, Tom? Is there any other teams that have stood out to you?
I think JS, the fact that they were able to not only get the wipe onto Rush to Crush, they were then able to rotate over, survive through the rotation, which in itself is a challenge up to the north, and they then managed to crash survive, get a couple of kills, and go out in second place.
And they did it with 3 members, right? Like, they were almost all alive until the very end, despite the fact that they faced off against a team early on. I can't remember which one it was, but only losing 1 member, winning out of firefight.
Crush, yeah.
Well, yeah, facing off against Rush Crush. Again, the coin flip team, they're always going to take the fights. Only losing 1 member, pretty impressive.
Yeah, and I mean, the fact is that they actually set up to be able to take that fight. They knew what's coming. And this is what I talked about yesterday, is that we tend to see this sort of situation where if teams know that there's going to be rotations coming through, they need to set up for that. And the fact that that meta is now growing and starting more to happen, I'm really happy. And the fact that a team like JS did it, which we've not seen fantastic results from, is an indicator that they're starting to grow as a team.
No, I think that's definitely true. We'll see if that maybe was just going to be a single performance, or we'll see it again.
Yeah.
It's always interesting to me when we see the same teams dropping for the second time onto the map, and it looks like we will see this circle, or rather this plane path, going just up to Lipovka. So there's a lot of southerly drop spots available.
So this is actually a pretty much mirrored reverse of last airplane. So instead of going up towards Georgetown, it's actually going over towards Lipovka, and this is a fairly well circle as well. It's very difficult for a lot of teams to be able to get up to that North Georgetown area, but it does open up Yasnaya and also Mansion, like I mentioned, and potentially Kameshki. I'm interested to see if TRD do the rotation strat again and try to get to a different place. So we'll see where they do end up going, but Novi is still on the board as well, and so is Military Circle. It seems like not many teams will be dropping onto the Military Island
But
here.
one of them is AXT. They went Fairy Pier last time around, but this time they've opted to go for this, and it's a bit of a gamble. I think AXT been playing a little fast and loose the last couple of games, and it's been honestly to their detriment. So this isn't a curious one. Let's see what happens as the plane will finally finish its flight.
Yeah, so we're at RTRD. I think they're the last team that dropped out there, if I'm right in saying. Yes.
Yeah.
No,
right next to Light Pirates again.
Not last ones, but quite close there. So we're going to be seeing Light Pirates drop over to Lipovka. They have dropped this area before and looted up here. Ooh. Central Circle.
We do have Central Circle. Some chances for a couple of shenanigans. Pachinki right in the middle of it. And wouldn't you know it, the only team dropping Pachinki is Arab Madness.
I'm not surprised. I mean, 963 learnt their dues, and they're going to have to try and run away from here and try and maybe go up towards Gatka. It's an open area, or Quarry, but KA are close behind them, so it'll be quite interesting to see where they do end up. So this is more unlikely to be actually a non-urban ending, but there's still a high chance. Very Pier in that area would be another interesting. Quarry is still in the mix, but very unlikely for that to land in. What's impossible is actually Military Circle, so Executors are going to have to rotate away from here.
Yeah, they have some time, though, right? There's definitely a little bit of a chance for them to stick around and loot up completely unopposed. They just need to get across the bridge before that becomes a problem.
Yeah, and I mean, one of the things about 963 sort of floating back to them and where they're going to be landing, they've got a lot to prove, considering they're another Iraqi team. And Kurd Squad have been doing fantastic. Last game, they went out a little bit earlier than I would have wanted, but...
Better than Light Pirates today, the other Iraqi squad that we were talking about.
Yeah, I mean, Light Pirates are right at the bottom. Below, I think, well, not below 963, but not too far away. Meanwhile, we are going to be seeing a few teams make the rotations in the car straight away. This is what I want to be seeing, not trying to engage. And it was actually Russia Crush doing that. TRD take over Lipovka.
Yeah, and this is actually the first time we've seen TRD, I think today, not facing down somebody in an urban area early on. They have it to themselves, but they will have to make some moves. A couple of shots flying, but everybody's... By the way, first off, everybody's alive in this game. Nobody is not loaded in, so RBG finally got their 4th member.
Yeah, finally. They're going to be able to play with an even ground.
Also, IQM's back to their old tricks.
Good.
That's a solo Mustafa. Honestly, they do seem to play better when they do split up. It's really weird. Let's just call them like the Scooby-Doo team, because they're always splitting up to look for clues.
Scooby-Doo. Where are IQM? That doesn't really work. But
I mean, you almost had... The problem was you had like 2 syllables too long. I think we can make something out of it. Let's go back to the drawing board for tomorrow.
I think you have to do delay between the IQ and the M. But nonetheless, let's see what delay is going to be coming out here between the fights between 46 Loot and Kurd Squad.
Yeah, both of these teams definitely have been stepping it up in recent days. Although, last match, KS out so early, really surprising. And honestly, for the fans, disappointing as well. We'll see if they can pick it back up and move their way up to standings here. We are checking in with the Light Pirates. It's another team that we want to track over the course of this tournament because they had such a brilliant last group stage match, but it's kind of hard to know where their power level is right now. It's been sort of inconsistent.
I think the fact is that they're a team that like to have fun and they like to troll around, which is brilliant. For us as casters, it's really entertaining, but I think as a team, they need to kind of settle down and actually play just performance-wise, because these are teams that are going to want to get picked up by organizations, and because in the Middle East it's a little bit harder to be able to get those sort of organizations to notice you, so they really need to be on their game and try and get the best scores they can.
We know they have a lot of potential.
Yeah, they have the potential. Are they going to put it to use? I don't know. KA, sorry, but I haven't seen too much potential from them, even into the group stages. There was nothing really spectacular. They kind of just scraped their way in.
They're a till further notice team, I think, for sure. Like, we just haven't seen enough of a spark to really determine that this team can do what they can do. Now, Rush to Crush, I don't think they're happy with this because they love breaching people early, and there's no one around.
I do like this, though. This is a potential development of them, because they actually noticed that they had to drop, and they were not getting the best spot, so they picked up a UAZ, and they rotated. Then they looted into Saverni.
There's RBK with all 4 members strong here. We will keep an eye on them. However, as I say it, Alush does knock one. Really finding some open freebies, and that is trouble for RBK. Loot 46, man. How about that for Alush?
You know what? Fair play to them, and 46 Loot on Erangel are a dangerous team to play against, especially in these areas. Oh yeah, definitely. They proved it over the last couple of games that they've been able to do it. Alush staying alive for so long, even though the rest of his team was wiped. He managed to dupe, very much like in Scooby-Doo. These guys, they went in through one door, he went out through another.
Yeah. Now I've got that image in my head for a little while here. One of the IQM members does get dropped here over by Rozhawk, but this is the 3 players playing together. So, only 2 players been eliminated at the very beginning. The rest of the RBK squad is going to get the heck out of Dodge. It looked like they had split off. But we are going to see this is our pretty typical start to most maps here in the ME region. A couple of teams getting involved in early firefights. One team getting wiped out, cleared away. And up against SNT, yeah, you better believe your opponents are going to be the ones that get wiped here. IQM were already a man down, and they are going to lose Tomb.
And I mean, Tombs actually had a few standout opportunities. He was actually the first member who, I think if I remember correctly, on Vikendi got a few awesome knocks. And it was actually against SNT, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, that was before they'd actually gotten to the power level, but you're 100% right. Like, we have seen them in the standout performances at the very end come up with hero plays. A lot of them, Wolf, the player that's with him, has actually had a lot of them himself. But, yeah, Tomb, unfortunately, he just gets dropped a little too fast, and that's just that is how it goes.
What are these guys doing? So they're going to be sharing a little bit of loot. That's nice. A little bit of friendly helpfulness there between 963 and those guys. But moving onwards, they're going to have to find a lot more kills and a better position in here going into this match, because they've not really been able to perform that great.
Yeah, they've been a bubble team for pretty much the entirety of the tournament performance, so it will definitely be a very dark horse thing for them to get out in the top 16th place. We'll need to see, just like with KA, a lot more from 963. Looks like TRD are going to be splitting up here. And you mentioned Mansion. Well, they are hanging around here.
Yeah, unfortunately, the Mansion's on the very much the edge of
We've
the
seen
circle.
a lot of hard shifts today, though. Come on, Tom. Don't you believe?
Not quite. It's not going to be quite that lucky, I don't believe. But there could be a few interesting circles in here. I'm not quite sure where I'd ideally think it would be. I'd have to have another look at the circle. But because there's such a big landmass, it could really go anywhere. I will make my guesses when it does come up. I'm usually quite good at being able to do those, but we'll see. LP in the meantime, I think they're still in the blue right now, so they're taking a bit of damage.
Doesn't do as much damage, though, as it's still phase 1 of the game, right? Needing a little bit more time before that'll happen. TRD splitting off into a couple of vehicles. One of those other teams that we weren't really necessarily tracking today, but wanted to see a lot more from. You can see off in the distance, LTK.
Yeah.
Like, what happened to this team? Because yesterday they were just absolute gods.
I think it's just a different mix of teams, and how they play is just unfortunate. And in the meantime, Rush to Crush taking on RBK. That was the first wipe, going out in 16th spot.
I would say this would be more of a coin flip, but honestly, it was a dice roll with initiative, because Rush to Crush only had to deal with two of the teammates of RBK. Easy cleanup for this team. Again, this is their specialty. They smell a weakened squad, and they clean them up.
Yeah, nice and easy for them to be able to do that. Meanwhile, in another part of the map, it's going to be Executors on Military Island. Still, at this point, the circle is coming, and they only have a limited amount of time. Before, I think they should have to shift up. They might just be in the circle. I can't quite recall. But we will see 963 once again. Cameron looted up, and there's that M249. Pretty much, I think that's probably the gun that's had the most clutch and maybe even the most kills this game so far.
It's definitely made a pretty big debut in today's games for sure. Where is that one dropped out?
That is out in the fields just below Pachinki towards the south, if I remember correctly. Or northern side. It's the northern side of Pachinki, sorry.
There we go. Now we can see it over by Ruins.
Yeah.
All right, so here's where we'll see the circle shrink in again, and will AXT actually need to be shifting? Boom. They actually still can hang on the island, but just barely. And look at that. School, Pachinki, Farm, all in the picture.
Yeah, so I mean, well, I think it's probably going to land. You know, ideally Potato Hill. It's not very nice to play.
We did see a potato end before.
Yeah. I want to say again. Mainly, I want to see TRD versus, who do I want to see? SNT.
Of course. I mean, those are the two. These are our headliners, right? Like, these guys have been stepping it up huge. I would give an honorable mention, though, to the likes of 46 Loot, who've had good play today, to KS, who, apart from the previous round, have been looking pretty good. We'll see what happens with these two teams as they are faced off against each other on Yasnaya.
Oh, no.
Azim finds Golden Boy. That's a knock. Nearly in a limb.
He's going to bleed out. There's no way they can recover him there. So he does go down. That's another kill on the board for 46 Loot, picking up 2 kills so far. Looking to add on to that scoreboard for from the rest of the members of KS.
Man, this team just went from, like, hide-and-go-seek to cold-blooded killers over the last couple of weeks, man.
I mean, during the first week, they pretty much went under the radar. We didn't really notice them. But on the second week, they just picked it up.
Yeah, they really did. They really did, man. 46 Loot, certainly a powerful squad that a lot of teams did not see coming, representing Egypt there. Of course, we will see a couple more squads making their moves in. It looks like this is 46 Loot packing it up and moving away.
Yeah, so they're going to be rotating through this field. This field can be pretty dangerous for a lot of people rotating through. There's a lot of bumps and bales of hay. And you know what? KA is still alive, but still an opportunity for them to go out quite early because they're now going to have to start that rotation into the circle and go across a bridge. Luckily, no one's going to be contending them. IQM still got all their members?
They've rejoined. So they only have 3 up. Excuse me, there's another fight going on here as the Light Pirates getting caught in the crossfire of Rush to Crush. This is not looking good for those Pirates. Drop down. It's Hama. This is what happens when they're nowhere near the water. Unfortunately, can't quite sail out to sea. It's only going to be Koro up and available, and he is off to the side. He better start running. He's actually taking shots.
He's actually going to be able to do a lot of damage here. He just needs to get a couple more knocks. I think 2 knocks here, maybe even 1 on the side of Rush to Crush. And
Tupac doesn't know where the shots are coming from.
Yeah, I mean, this is a really interesting play. Unfortunately, we do see Demard, who is alive right now.
Full health. Nade.
That's a little bit of a crazy one. That's not really a skilled nade. That's more of just a luck shot. He should just drive away. He should just get away from this position right now. If he stays there for any longer, he will die.
Yeah, tense moment. A little bit rough, though, for LP losing 2 and basically 3. There's really not a whole lot of chances for Koro there to res up Hama as he bleeds out. And we'll see what ends up happening with the end of that one as we check out IQM and AXT. Yeah, Koro's out.
That's really honestly the best call here. He can't really do too much, and this is the second time in a row that we've seen LP down to 1 person. This is not a good look for them. They've been very disappointed today. 963 not really showing up too much today either, but we'll see.
Rush to Crush just had 2 very successful fights back-to-back. Now, a lot of first one was cleanup, admittedly, but that was a straight-on 4v4, and they won it very definitively. I think, you know, again, early game fights do seem to be the bane of Light Pirates' existence. So, yet again, we kind of see them a little disappointing compared to where we saw at the end of the group stages. We'll check back in as it develops, of course, over the course of the tournament. But Rush to Crush,
they're in a decent compound here. I was actually playing the other day in this compound, and it's quite an interesting place to sort of take angles on other teams. And talk about angles on other teams, SNT trying to push in against Executors. This is dangerous. SNT are in a dangerous situation now, especially. Oh, this is
looking at the Rush to Crush side.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's 2 different fights going on here. As Rush to Crush, we're caught in a couple of crosshairs. The LTK members. We'll see how that one goes down as well. As this breach from SNT looking to come in. Good splits on both sides. Rodel looking to wrap around onto Captain.
Ooh.
And that's going to be Rodel knocked down by Lashin's nade. Taken out.
He was finished by that double nade. Lash in, you can't doubt him on his nade skills. Very well played. And now we might see Lord try to jump out the window. Nope.
He's trying to take some sights on, but you can already see that the shots are coming from inside the house. Lord looks to ready a nade up here, and he might be able to land it onto a couple of members, but this is looking tough for AXT.
He needs to keep nading that spot, maybe even smoke it out so that it don't push him as fast. I think that's a Molotov going out, but his teammate's trying to help him here.
Tense moment. You can see Koro just driving by. No, I'm not having any of that one. I'm going to go to a nice safe spot. Narcos does take a little bit of damage, and you can actually see, oh, I thought Clown was actually going to bail out of this one and leave his teammates alone. They'd already considered giving up the fight. He's just moving the car a little bit, hoping to distract the members of SNT.
It kind of worked, but unfortunately for Lord, he's in a very difficult situation, and they're going to push him and down him. That's going to be easy
that's going to be it. He did get a little bit of damage onto, looks like Mustafa there, but not enough to really take him out, and this has now become a 4v2. AXT, you know, we talk about how they're a solid team, especially on the offense. Defense not looking as good, and today, they just seem to be playing at about 70%, not quite up to the level we expected.
It kind of just feels like they're lagging behind today. They've not been... yeah, like you said, they have been playing not even 70%. I'd probably maybe even say sort of 60, maybe even 50%.
Questionable decision-making, too. That's the weird thing about it.
Circle's actually hard-shifted down south, so it might actually be a military circle.
I thought you said that was impossible, Tom.
I said it was near impossible.
Okay, I see. A little technicality. And you can see the caravans packing up and heading over to the military island. Boot camp will be in set soon enough as Demon gets rushed in. And AXT are out in 15th place.
Yeah, unfortunately for Demon, it does seem like S&T took a page out of Buffy the Vampire Slayer's book.
I was wondering where you were going with that one right now, man. I don't see anybody named Buffy or Spike on that side, but, you know, my 90s are showing for sure. TRD going to face off against 963 here, who have been just hoping to have a nice quiet time. Looks like Basile is already going to get knocked. Meanwhile, AM opening up fire into the 46 Loot Squad. And they almost have everyone. It's only Zico that manages to get away.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be bringing up memories here for those guys as they go through. But AM, again, a couple of kills here. And we also see Switch Drown. How have they managed that? Oh,
Wolf is in the water as well.
It's because KS, I think, was shooting down on them, but HeadHunterr's pushing in towards S&T.
Yeah, they found Lushin, actually. They might even be able to get enough damage to down him. They do, but Nightmare gets downed as well, and this might be HeadHunterr biting off a little more than they can chew. Instantly, they're going to leave. The Babe just says, see you guys, taking the vehicle and getting the heck out of Dodge. He got away.
Has he, though? I don't know.
Oh, it's a little bit of damage. But yeah, the rest of HeadHunterrs are dead. And you could tell there was no hesitation there. They just know, all right, we've lost this fight. We're out of here.
They managed to down one, but that was it. Okay, so it's not Military Island. Very close, though, I think, on that front. But nonetheless, let's have a look at this. So this is actually an interesting place. So any teams that land in that field area, unless the circle hard shifts onto them, they're going to die.
Yeah, it looks like AM are going to take out a couple of members of JSS. This goes down. So as the teams start to move into each other's territory, it is all the firefights.
Yeah.
This is reminded me of a circle that we saw 7 Reef team clutch that crazy 1v5 earlier on. We'll get back to that in a little bit later because LTK, oh boy, that's into a hornet's nest there. They find all 4 IK members.
Interesting. Unfortunately for them, that was not a situation LTK wanted to be in. A couple of grenades going out from LTK, but all that's going to do is make IK aware of the position of the rest of LTK.
I can't believe Rush to Crush still have 4.
Yeah, meanwhile, 46 still alive right now.
That's Zico. He managed to get away. So there's 1 member of HeadHunterrs, 1 member of 46 Loot as well. Unfortunately, he's facing down. Looks like the likes of AM, KS, they've got 3 members still up. Looking for Wolf, who's just swimming. Just keep swimming. Just keep swimming. I think they jumped in the water to get a package. It's a little bit of a dumb decision, but we'll see. Meanwhile, I mean, you mentioned Rush to Crush. Yeah, still alive. Very surprising considering their usual sort of affinity and with dying very early. You flip a coin enough times, it's going to come up heads a few times in a row. Certainly working out well for them. The aggressive tendency is paying off. And now KA facing off against 963, 2 of our bottom teams, trying to get a 1 leg up over another, and it looks like it's going to go the way of 963.
Got to give them praise for that, being able to get those kills. Meanwhile, we're going to be seeing a couple of other members that dying, and it's going to be IK trying to take out the rest of LTK.
Yeah, things a little indecisive, though. There's a few knocks either way, but it looks like Mojrem's going to be the only healthy member of LTK. Meanwhile, TRD have entered the fray here against Rush to Crush. Wolf kind of sticking around the side. I think this will definitely favor TRD. However, Kevin getting knocked down by Rush.
That is not a good look for them, but the push going to be coming in.
Tupac moving around the side as well. Rush should get finished off as Zero looks to crawl back into the team. Tupac getting knocked. Nasser the only one left up, and he does get the knockdown on to his opposite number. Rush to Crush, proven to be some tough competition here up against the TRD side, but even with 3 knocks, Hackshot can still get his teammates up.
That is so close, but Nasser might be able to actually do the impossible and take TRD out. He's trying to go for the sprays.
Looks like he didn't quite get it. All the same, that was a
Look at that car
for TRD. That is a very sweet car, by the way.
Kind of looks like an anime car.
Nasser getting taken out by Kevin. So ends Rush to Crush. I think they had a very admirable performance. Unfortunately, placement not going to favor them too much as they go out in 11th.
So AM actually have 8 kills total right now, and they are on their version of Pride Rock.
Yeah.
Right above TRD.
Wow. It's maybe it's like Proud Rock. It's not like the definition of Pride, but they're proud that they've made it to the top of it.
Exactly, and they might be able to do a lot of damage, but KS looking to do exactly that.
From behind, another rock as well. They do manage to get a couple of downs. That's Mustafa. And another member of SNT really getting taken low here as they try to find cover behind a couple of cars, get blown. Ari lighting them up, and so much damage there as Ahmed gets headshot by Lashin.
Lashin coming in clutch, trying to help his teammates
Smokes
out.
down.
Look at Captain. He's on a slither of health. Lashin trying to heal up right now. They're now going to have to pick up their guys, and they need to move.
Yeah, S&T, I don't think they go quietly into the night, not too easily anyways. But what impresses me and surprises me is some of these other teams that have lasted this long. You look at IK and 963 in the other picture over there. Meanwhile, looks like KS are back to their ways. They're going to get an explosion onto Mustafa.
It was actually TRD coming on the back of them and knocking out Narcos.
No way. Also, Wolf is just still there in the water. Even the Bape from HeadHunterrs, it's actually going to favor him. And Koro, look at this open circle.
You know what I said about the field teams? if it went away from them, they were going to have a bad time. But this is fully in their favor. Well, not fully in their favor, but heavily in their favor, because the circle, if it lands central, they can still snake. Unfortunately, on mobile, it's very easy to spot out snakes due to the third person and also limited textures on this game just due to technical sort of limitations. Nonetheless, though, KS, oh, if he dropped down there, he has. That's going to be the end.
Okay.
Okay, well.
That was an interesting one. That's one of those like cliffhanger endings where you're like, did he die? Did he not? I don't know. It was really unclear.
Well, unfortunately, it's not good enough of a cliffhanger, and he let it go. Boom! So he did drop down, and IK still holding on to the side of the hill. You can say they're a hill hanger.
If you insist. This is definitely a pretty good round from IK here. You can see Ari just kind of splish splash around in the water there.
Okay.
Ebo comes up and joins him. Ahmed driving away. It looks like KS trying to split the difference, but the blue is coming in. They're going to have to make tracks for sure.
I mean, I don't think it's actually possible for them to get up here. So, unfortunately for them, it seems like they're just going to die to the blue. This is so
that's
unfortunate.
Just sad. Oh, Ebo's trying, man.
I mean, they may as well, but whatever. Lashin's still alive in his team. There's a couple of them still alive there. HeadHunterrs!
It's the Vape. He's trying to light up IK's side. Even as the blue comes in here, he just takes a lot of shots, plants his feet firmly on the ground. Doesn't quite get anybody out of that one, but HeadHunterr's still alive in this game. 9 teams remaining. S&T are down to just Lashin and Captain, by the way.
I just want to mention as well, actually, Koro, he's on low HP, but he's had the time to heal, but he hasn't. So that kind of indicates he's got no meds.
Now, Ahmed coming in. B52 trying to blow the car to smithereens. Not going to be able to find it. Playzone does finally kill one of the KS members. It's Ari there. And B52 and the rest of Arab Madness actually in a really good spot in what looks to be the penultimate circle.
Yeah, and IK is still alive here at the moment in 2
right
different
in the middle,
areas.
Man. He is right in the middle of an open field. Just hoping no one sees him here. Captain opening up onto Hixu. Getting it down here. S&T, we will finally get that fight between the two, but it's not at full power right now. Zero taking out a boot from 963. Nade's out.
And there's only 4 teams with 1 player standing, IQM, LP, HeadHunterrs, and Kurd Squad.
Kremik gets taken down there, so IK losing 1. Still pretty strong. You can see the remaining players left alive. Looks like the numbers are starting to shift. AM have 4, TRD have 4, and IK have all 4 alive. Only full squatted teams.
Yeah, this is looking a little bit tight for TRD right now. They're under pressure. One of their members has been knocked. It might be Captain knocking another.
Yeah, I kept it really low, but through the smoke he tries to spray. Doesn't actually find his mark, unfortunately. Zero getting knocked by Lashin. S&T are moving in. And they might have been able to clean this one up here. It looks like they've got heaping helpings of damage. Kevin gonna get knocked.
What is that arbor he's got on? That clothes is hilarious. But meanwhile,
definitely giving him a lot of cover. However, turnaround from Hixu. You gotta be kidding me. They delete S&T.
what a clutch situation at the end there, wiping them out in 8th position.
I thought the S&T had that fight for sure. They were closing in on all sides, but you never count TRD out until the final moment. And we're down to 7 teams here, Tom.
So impressive coming out from TRD, being able to make that clutch play. I honestly thought they were going to be out for the count, but IK trying to do that to AM, who are currently stuck inside a building. Koro still alive right now, snaking away.
Yeah, Ogre just unloading fire on top of these guys, but there's just not a lot of places for AM to go. They do have a cop car, looks like it spits smoke, and they might just end up getting it blown. There it goes. Really no easy way for these guys to move out. They'll have to go on foot. Koro still waiting in the middle of the circle. He didn't ask for any of this, but it's coming into him anyways.
This is just reminiscence of them in their first week. They didn't get many kills, but they got into the top sort of 8.
We called them janitors. They could pick off a handful of players and then just sort of like get a decent position every time. They would find a little bit of time to dance inside a house every now and again. I don't think he's dancing, though, in the middle of this field. And Quiet is opening up onto the TRD members, not able to find it through the smoke there. Kevin getting inside the car. Can he drive away? Quiet unscopes, it looks like.
Yeah, it seems like they are trying to push in, but it's going to be 963.
Pushing in onto Kevin. He realizes somebody else is here. However, good drop down. And that's going to be Hixu finding Lorenz here. Hixu turning around and getting everybody. 963 out. He is the clutch master.
He managed to fight all the members of 963 by himself at a distance, kill them, and also backed up his teammate,
his bullets
Kevin.
do more damage.
He's just a fantastic player. I think on his team, he's by far the best player, in my opinion.
Which
Not
finds
biased.
the IK members. Yeah, definitely not. Honestly, Hixu has been stepping up massively, not just today, but across the course of the tournament. Koro still standing in here. Rowan is dropping. Yeah, he could actually go over to it. He'll have cover. He's not daring to move, though. Look at that. He's staying perfectly still.
I mean, as soon as you move, you draw attention to yourself. As soon as any pixels moves, and if someone happens to be looking your direction, you're then dead meat. Oh, look at this. Unfortunately,
Goodbye, HeadHunterr.
The Vape thought he was in cover, but unfortunately, grass does not load in at that distance, so he's able to actually take the kill there.
It's a bit thin grass, too. I mean,
yeah, I mean, it was never really going to happen.
Ain't no wild Pokemon in there.
Look at this slope. So Hixu's actually going to be able to crawl up here without being spotted by any of these other teams. So they're going to be able to get inside the circle, and they're going to be pretty happy with themselves.
All right, so we're down to 5. We have LPI have 1, IK have 1, TRD have 2, and it looks like B52 are the healthiest team up remaining right now.
Yeah,
with, it looks like 3 or 4 members. Not really
I think there are 4 members inside that one shed, which is kind of dangerous, but it's also very healthy at the same time because they've got hard cover, but that's going to soon end. Kevin, what are you doing?
Yeah, he's just playing on the edge here, just trying to move. His legs are hanging out in the blue, but he's still not taking damage because he's just got more than 50% of himself. He's just dipping his feet in, you know, so it's just a tip. Nice and easy. Yeah, man, they're really playing on the edge for sure. But I think this is actually the Arab Madness map to lose right now because we saw last time around that if it hadn't been for their positioning, they may have been able to take it, or at least where they were when the circle started coming in, they may have been able to take it. Now they have 4 members strong. So
this is actually quite an interesting play. So they're actually chucking out smokes to help B52 trying to get an inside position whilst they actually stay behind. What's unfortunate for the rest of the teams is that there's 3 snakes sitting in the grass. So as soon as they start engaging, they'll turn on each other and bite each other's tails.
Yep. See how it all goes down here. 9 players remaining. 25.5 minutes. You can see Hoger, he's just been hanging out behind this one brush. He will have to start moving quickly. IK was such a promising end for them, but unfortunately they had so many teams firing upon him, and all of AM are creeping out. Everybody's coming to Koro.
What's quite interesting here, you can actually see Hager's, he's dropped his bag because he's snaking. And dropping a bag means you're less busy.
Good strategies, and spreading out. Hope they don't spread themselves thin here.
That nade might well go out!
Oh, Molotov! Ixu finds him.
You can't pick up that team member now.
He's going to throw the smoke
Maybe
here.
they can. Though he seems to be moving away from the smoke. It's a bit of an interesting play from him, but the rest of the snakes are going to have to move in here. Look at Koro.
I don't know if they know Koro's here right now.
Look at Koro.
Oh boy, Hoger going to get taken out. That's down to 4 teams right now. B52 creeping up to the care package.
Oh, he's right there.
Koro, will he take the shot? He's got them all in his sights. He could eliminate Arab Madness right now.
I think he was AFK. Look at this. They're going to be recovering behind this box. He's going to be able to take the shots.
There he goes for it. Oh, no, Butcher! And that's going to be it for the Light Pirates out in 4th.
What a failure coming out from him. He should have just shot them whilst he was in the bush, but instead he rushed towards them, and unfortunately he got crushed. And now,
even when they're dead, we still make the puns.
Hey, TRD, though, still here, looking to make sure that they are ready to take this, and they definitely can do that. So we'll be seeing them push up this side of the side, and they're actually taking off their clothes. Interesting style, but it's actually the better play here.
Weird flex, but okay. So it's all down to AM. 2 members of TRD, and the last remaining member of KS. The crowd favorites, Ahmed. Can he hold the line?
Kurd Squad trying to do his team proud.
Kevin's downed. That means there's only 1 healthy member. It's Hixu.
It's not even healthy.
How good can he clutch at this point? And getting lit up. That's going to be Kevin. Drop down. And Hixu taken out. Meanwhile, that just means it's up to Ahmed, and I don't know if he thinks he can do this one. This is going to be Arab Madness coming up clutch.
Yeah, it should be fairly easy for them to be able to close this out, but let's see what they can do. Maybe KS can actually bring out some magic.
Yeah, 1v4. I mean, we've seen stranger things, or about as strange, as he goes full snake mode.
Unfortunately, he does a smart thing. He dodges the blue.
Yeah, it doesn't give an extra kill.
And that's actually something we've not really seen before. There's not been many of them. I think maybe 1 or 2 over the past couple of weeks, but that's the main one. But GG, well played. Look at those kills. That is huge. That's going to be total 16 kills plus the win. KS only get 1 kill, but get second place.
Yeah, TRD pick up 11 for themselves, but that 3rd place finish just based on the placement, the positioning. But Arab Madness definitely stepped up when it counted here, and they split the kills between all of their members, and that was the impressive thing for them. I loved how they got into that final circle, found the only place they could actually hide out, used everything for cover, great smoke play, and then just outplayed every one of those last remaining members.
Yeah, it was really well played. We saw, well, as soon as I saw them chucking the smokes ahead to cover up B52's approach, I was fairly certain they got this in the bag, especially because they had the numbers anyway.
I thought Koro was going to be able to get those 2 kills. I was so surprised that he actually popped out of the brushes. Yeah, kind of gave himself away. And this is why we talk about Light Pirates as being maybe not the greatest in straight-up fights. They're better at hiding.
He also had a Tommy gun, which is definitely not the gun I recommend anyone to use outside the first 5 fights you have.
He should have gone for the loot crate, to be honest. I mean,
Yes.
it's okay. It's retrospect. It's hindsight. It's 2020 for sure. But let's talk about our highlight plays. It all started with Hazim on 46 loot, really lighting it up there. But then things started turning. Rush to Crush had a couple of great fights. This is where Light Pirates got reduced to 1, and Koro, after a little bit of hesitation and deliberation and a couple of downs, ends up getting out of town.
Yeah, and he actually had an AK in that situation. He got rid of that later on and had a Tommy gun and a micro Uzi. Unfortunately, that was just not the call to make. If he had that AK, he might have been able to do a bit more damage. But either way, let's move on here. So Executor, unfortunately, just getting slammed by SNT.
Yeah, they've made some weird decisions here, and I think on defense they just haven't looked nearly as good. Then, of course, AM, they did so much work here against 46 Loot, who were just trying to drive away. But as you always say, Tom, one vehicle simply does not do. You need to split the difference so they can't all get caught rush to crush trying to take another fight there, ended up getting crushed themselves. And then, of course, AM. I mean, our eventual winners, they kind of flew in under the radar, get a couple of kills, kept stacking them up, but at the end of the day, they reigned supreme.
Yeah, and we actually saw there a couple of teams fighting and then proving better, but I mean, it's actually going to be IK there. We saw and then Rush to Crush.
Up against TRD. This was actually a really impressive performance from Rush to Crush up until the very end. You could see Tupac get dropped down, but they did push TRD to their limits, and I think you got to give them some credit for that. Yeah,
unfortunately, they did get third-partied from AM at the same time, so they weren't really in the best of situations to be able to recover from it, and they then got punished, but nonetheless, SNT doing a fantastic job here as well.
But this was sick, man. It really turned around. TRD, it looked like they were going to drop, but then Hixu, the hero, stepping it up. And then, of course, he ended up finding all of 963, who just dropped like flies. Kevin having a great shot into the Bape, delivering that last final kill. And, of course, you know, TRD, they got a third-place finish. I think this chicken dinner was definitely on the table for them, but number-wise and the fact that it was B52 and the rest of AM getting up to that loot crate first definitely favored them.
Yeah, unfortunately, when you're trying to crawl uphill, you don't have the advantage, and because their presence was known, shots were easy to make. But let's have a look at AM versus TRD. It's been a while since we've seen this, but look at the damage. It's so close. The kills, on the other hand, we see 5 extra kills going to AM's side, and we see a first place from their side.
I still feel like this is a pretty fair, you know, between these two teams comparison, just because of how the real deal have been, and this is Arab Madness's best performance. Remember, these two teams were in the Final Four in that last Erangel battle. It was just a much more urban area, so in the outside, Arab Madness kind of opened it up and take the win.
Yeah, and I mean, to be honest, TRD and AM have had a long-standing sort of fighting and sort of
you could say rivalry, maybe?
Rivalry, yeah, that's the word I was looking for.
Quiet definitely wasn't this time around. Look at that, 3 kills and 425 damage.
Yeah, Hackshot in the meantime, definitely being a bit of a hack shot. Being able to land a decent amount of damage, but not able to land that last blow there. No. 368 damage is nothing to laugh at, but not so good. Meanwhile, Molotov burning away the kills here. Again, 3 kills in total, but only doing 200 damage. Meanwhile, Kevin actually showing up this time.
Kevin had a great round, man. Yeah. Kevin had a fantastic round. He was actually putting a lot of damage on the board, got a lot of knocks in addition to cleaning up kills. I think he was kind of like that cleanup man at the end of the day. Then you look at Zero, who only had the 1 kill, but 400 damage to himself. And then Butcher was the big man on the AM side because he was the one in the grass, cover firing, and managing to find those final shots.
Yeah, and it was really impressive coming out there at the end. I'm a little bit disappointed by Zero not being able to do as much damage or kills, but nonetheless, not so bad. Hixu, my hero of the day for TRD, in my opinion. He's been most consistent. He saved them a couple of times in the first game and also another game.
100% agree with you, but on the same token, I want to give some huge credit to B52 because even in the games AM have not looked all that great, he's definitely stepped up. And look at the headshot counter. We usually don't see it go above 1 or 2. That man had 3 in that game, so he is absolutely a fantastic shot on the AM side.
I mean, we talk about fantastic shots. We actually saw him do probably one of the best sniper shots we have ever seen in the last Erangel game. The first Erangel game of today, where he shot through a tiny window, and it wasn't that he was just holding it. He literally stood up, took aim, shot, bam, right into the back of the head.
Honestly, those are so highlight-worthy because we so rarely see them. Yeah, I think we've had maybe 2 over the course of this whole tournament.
Yeah.
And of course, you know, you want to see more of that stuff. You want to check out how the teams got where they were. Don't forget to visit our website at clubopen.pubgmobile.com for up-to-date standings and, of course, all of our teams around the world. You can find out all that info as well.
Yeah, I mean, definitely go check it out, especially with what's going on. I'm really excited to see how the score is going on. We're going to have a look afterwards. I can only imagine S&T are going to hold their position at the top. TRD are going to be very close. But meanwhile, we've had a lot of highlights, like B52 shot. And if you want to check them out, we do upload them
Every day, absolutely. Over at youtube.com/PUBGMobile Esports, you can find all of that information there on the screen below. And don't forget to smash that subscription button and
Ding dong that notification bell.
so you don't have to miss a single minute of the PUBG Mobile action. Now, this has been fantastic. Day 2 is all wrapped up, and we will put a bow on it right here. So join us again tomorrow at 8 p.m. Central European Summertime as more of the MEA region continues in the PUBG Mobile Club Open. We will see you then.
Night, the newest mode in the zombie universe is here. This time, the rules are different. No more parachuting, as players will be placed at random locations on the map when the match begins, and there is no single winner. Players must work with their teammates to spend one long night in the match and stay alive until the sun comes up. Waves and waves of zombies will spawn during each of the 3 foggy periods at night, and supplies should only be scavenged when the fog fades. The main objective is not to defeat other players, though this doesn't mean they are harmless. Players may need to work with other teams when necessary, but should also watch their backs in case the Fragile Alliance
Play PUBG Mobile for free.